Xbox All In channel, host Sega Forever here. Sorry, the start of the video already sounds like a jungle. I got so many parakeets. We got wild parakeets in my neighborhood, guys. That's what you hear those birds all the time. Because people are not responsible enough to take care of the animals that they buy. You know, Hawaii used to be pretty good. Oh, sorry. How about that? My bad, guys. Got double. I was seeing if it's streaming on the YouTube channel, and it is, as you could hear the feedback. So I'll mute that. And yeah, it's unfortunate. Man. We have all these. Hawaii used to be pretty good at taking care of foreign species, but now that's all out the door, right? So it's like anything when it comes to the government. Once it starts failing in its duties, of course you still pay the money in your taxes, but that's not what this is about. I don't want to go down a rant on taxes and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm doing this podcast. I had an idea to do a podcast like this. But I was inspired by Sega Man's podcast that he did earlier because the news that they were talking about in the podcast. I haven't listened to your podcast in whole. Sega Man, I was kind of in and out. I was on the move when you guys started the podcast. I was trying to listen to it on the go, but the connection was going off and on. So I caught most of the last part of or at least the last half of the podcast, or probably most of it. I think the beginning, because I saw that you had T and Tuck were in the beginning of the podcast, and I was listening to it. But I wanted to do this before I got a little bit too late for me, because I do have to work tomorrow. And this is just going to be me going solo. So I'm pretty sure I normally don't do podcasts on Sundays, guys. I mean, it is the Lord's Day, but I decided to do this because I wanted to talk about it a little bit. And I'm just going to go solo, like I said. Hopefully, some people will jump into the comments because that always makes it fun. But it's just going to be me. And as you can see by the topic, we're going to be talking about the PlayStation tax. And as Sega Man was saying, because I made a comment in his live chat, and when Sega Man saw that, he read it and he thought it was funny. He said I was being sarcastic, which I was. Because yesterday I had podcasts, and thanks to Unlimited India, and of course T being in the podcast, helping me hold it down. We did it for almost 4 hours. But it was good. It was fun. And I enjoy doing it with them. They give a lot of insight to a lot of the topics that's going on, and not just in gaming, but in pop culture in general. That's why I like doing podcasts with these guys. But I talked about it yesterday a little bit. I wanted to do a petty podcast, is what I wanted to do. And the petty podcast was going to be technically about PlayStation. And also Marvel. Because if you're fans of Marvel like I am, and Xbox, right? Having Marvel fail the way that it is actually good if you're a hardcore Marvel fan like myself. Right? Because they are not doing really well when it comes to their product, and the only way that I see them correcting that problem is them actually failing. Right? They're gonna have to learn the hard way. On the flip side, you're seeing that with the PlayStation. A lot of the news that's coming out ever since the AKB deal went through, which I've talked about on this channel. Right? A lot of things are going to change. I know it's going to be a lot of hard for a lot of people, especially on the PlayStation side. And I'm not just talking about the ponies. I just think PlayStation users in general, because PlayStation has a lot of people that are just general video gamers or normie video gamers that use the brand. They might like the brand, or that's all they know. So when you have changes happening like that are happening right now, um, it's going to be hard for people to accept and adapt, but they will, right? And that's just the nature of the beast. You guys know I'm a huge hardcore Sega fan. My gamer tag is Sega Forever, as you can see on the screen. If you guys want to hit me up on Xbox, I've been playing a lot of Warhammer 40,000 Dark Tide. It's an awesome game. When I first started playing it, I really enjoyed it. I didn't realize how deep it was. And that's why it's kind of kept me off of other games that I wanted to play. You guys know I'm a huge proponent of Game Pass, especially on this channel, because I think it is the future for Microsoft, and it's a good future. Not just for Microsoft, but for gamers in general. Like 5-10 years from now, I can see this thing. I can see Game Pass being dominant if everything falls into place the way Microsoft. But the way Microsoft has been doing things, they've been batting 1,000. If I'm being 100% honest. So we have a good future ahead of us on the green team on this side. Now for PlayStation, not so much. And again, I'm going back to the comment I made in Sega Man's podcast where he acknowledged my comment in the live chat. And yes, again, I am being sarcastic with it. And the reason I'm being sarcastic about it is because it's funny, right? if you guys watched the video yesterday, we talked at length about Dustin Gary, and he did a video about the Xbox tax and how he doesn't believe that it's real. He threw up a lot of his points and counterpoints and whatever you want to say. But ultimately, if you guys are like me and you guys bleed green, and it's not a biased thing either, man. It's just that by bleed green, I mean you actually own the console, you play Game Pass, you play the games, you like the system, you like what Microsoft is doing. A lot of people, what sets Microsoft apart from PlayStation fandom is at least on the Microsoft side, we will criticize Microsoft and Xbox. A lot of people say, well, we don't hear you do that. It's like, we'll give them warranted criticism. This channel is not built for me to get 1 million subscribers, which I never will because of the way I speak and the way I present my material, man. It's not all about the people, man. It's me. If I want to do it, I know I got to put more time and effort into it. I talked about that on my channel before, but that's not the purpose of this channel. The purpose of this channel, as you can see, this is a rant video. It's just me ranting. I mean, in fact, the only thing that keeps me going with this channel is to talk about stuff based on principle, especially when it comes to pop culture in general, not just video gaming. Though we do focus mostly on Xbox, because that's the crew I hang with. We're more Xbox guys, right? Like, for example, I do comic book stuff, but I'm more of the Marvel side. Most of the other guys in our group tend to be more on the DC side. So it doesn't mean we can't talk about it. We do. That's why sometimes my podcast run really long. But in this case specifically, since it's just me, I just really want to talk about what's going on in PlayStation. And as you can see, karma is a bee, and that's what the PlayStation guys are dealing with right now, is karma, right? Because the real problem with PlayStation, especially their hardcore fan base, is that they're always busy looking at what other people do and what other people have or what other people don't have, and they weaponize it, man. This is why the console war exists. Right, it's not the Xbox side that does it. I'll be honest with you guys right there. Xbox doesn't have fans like the way Sony has fans. I said the majority of people might have an Xbox, but they're not Xbox centric. They're not hardcore Xbox fans. Like for me, man, I bleed black and gold when it comes to football. Right, I'm a huge Steelers fan. In fact, I'm a huge Pittsburgh fan. All three of my favorite teams, man, are in the Pittsburgh, in the state of Pennsylvania, in the Pittsburgh area. That's the Pirates, the Penguins, and the Steelers. And I've been this way for over. Yeah, the majority of my life, how long am I? Over 40 years. I've been following all these teams. And I'm from a little rock in the middle Pacific. And I grew up in the mainland too, so that made it easier. But I've seen like some of the greats come and go in all three of those sports. Right? I'm old enough to remember Willie Stargell when he played for the Pirates. I'm old enough to remember Marlon Mew. And that late 80s, 90s team that ran. I remember when Greg Lloyd and Kevin Green terrorized the gridiron, man, in the 90s Steelers. I came in a little bit late for the championship team and the dynasty team of the 70s. I was born in 73. I'm dating myself, I know. But, I didn't get the full impact of that. So I grew up with that glory. It wasn't until, like, Pittsburgh started winning their latter Super Bowls that I experienced that firsthand. Right. But still, as a fan of those teams, and even to this day, regardless of what the sports is going on, how old I get and all this kind of stuff, right? That's what I'm talking about. Xbox doesn't have that kind of fan base. They do have fans like that, but it's not majority of what the Xbox fan base is, and it's always kind of been like that with Xbox. As you guys can see, my gamer tag is Sega Forever. I'm a hardcore Sega fan when it comes to video games, and I also like Atari. But that's what I just grew up with Atari when I was younger. Right, I remember a time when Atari was the dominant force, and technically the only force that was pushing video games forward. Right, and of course, growing up in the arcades and stuff like that, that's where I fell in love with Sega and their games, and then they did the Genesis and the home consoles, and it was all gravy from there. And even to this day, I rock the Sega moniker, even though Sega's not that same company that I grew up with, right? But they still do good stuff that I love, and I still support them because of the brand and because I am a fan, and that's what I mean by being a hardcore fan. Because the stuff that Sega does now is a far cry from. There's some throwback stuff that they do to the glory days of when I loved playing Sega. A lot of times on the Genesis system, right? It's the first gaming system that I bought with my own money, right? The first gaming system that I played. I had a Nintendo, but that was bought for me by of course. Got on a roll. My grandmother pressured my uncle to buy me a Nintendo. Right? But of course, if you knew back then, if you're a kid, man, this stuff was expensive and we didn't have money. So you would do things like borrow games from friends and stuff like that. That's how I played games. Arcade was a little bit easier, right? Especially when I got a job, right? You get tips and stuff like that. You just convert them into quarters, right? But you have to be good, man, because a lot of those games were quarter munchers back in the day. Luckily, I was good, so But I give you that brief history just to make you guys to let you guys understand. Trying to set the tone for what this podcast is going to be, but to let you guys understand that when it comes to Xbox, the gaming community treats them different, right? This is why the game tax, or Xbox tax that everybody's talking about now, a lot of us understand, right? Because we've lived it. This isn't something like Dustin was doing his video talking about the Game Awards and stuff like that. I told you guys on my channel, I could care less about Game Awards. I don't watch any award show because the way that I consume my product, whether it's movies, music, video games, whatever it is, especially in pop culture, the things that I like, man, is not even on tune with a lot of the people that are considered experts, industry analysts, people in the know. Like it's easy to cross streams on some of this stuff. Like when you hear somebody mention a movie like The Blues Brothers, it hits the top 20 movies of all time. Yeah, of course, right? That's there's movies like that and stuff like that. But like on the black, like for example, Xbox is having a Black Friday sale, and I always go to their movies and TV section, right? Because they have a lot of good sales on their digital content. Because I consume digital a lot, I don't want to pay the full price of it, right? Because if you lose the rights to that, I'm not saying Xbox is going to do that. It's just a defense mechanism for me to make me feel comfortable with my purchase, right? I'll go upwards depending on how good the movie is. Like I paid for Top Gun Maverick, I paid full price for that because I love that movie so much and I've watched it a bazillion times. So I always have no problem paying the full price. That could bite me a little later on, but I watched this movie so times, feel like I got my money back, and I watched it in the theater twice. Okay, that's how much I love that movie. So they have Black Friday sales right now in their movies of movies that would never make any type of top 10 list at all ever, right? Like for me, the way I consume my movies and content is similar to the way that I look at games that I like and developers that I support. Like if I have a developer, like you guys know if you guys listen to my videos that I make, I'm really high on game developers like Devolver Digital. Um, I can't remember Humble Games, right? A lot of the stuff that's coming out of I think it's Factor 5, and just recently it was Necron, right? I actually had two Necron games, or Necron's the publisher. I can't think of the developer who made the games, but a lot of the games that they published, I had two of them already. I had no idea they did that. That they did it. I bought Clash, and I forgot what the other one is, and I haven't even played those, right? But I do the same thing when it does to my content, right? Like, if you guys don't know who Wellgo USA, if you guys are like media files like me, like yes, like, or a movie file, right? Go look up We Go West. No, Wellgo USA. Wellgo USA is the name of the company, right? And they produce a lot of the like action type movies, a lot of them martial arts that come from the East and stuff like that. And they do other stuff as well. Like there was one about that I saw they did a military action type movie, and I kind of grew up with that kind of stuff, right? And when I was growing up, it would be considered B level, but at the movies that I'm looking at, they actually look better than that on that level. So anyway, just go look at those Black Friday deals, man. I picked up a bunch of games, like and a bunch of movies. I picked up Meg 2 because I love Meg, like Jason Stratham. And there's just a bunch of stuff that you can buy on the sale aside from the games. Because I heard in Sega Man's podcast, a lot of people were disappointed, I guess, with the game sales for Black Friday. Um, the interesting thing about I did look at the game sales and stuff like that, but I got such a big backlog, and there's a couple games I will pick up definitely. But the thing about Microsoft, where I guess I can understand what people are saying, is that they have sales all the time. I've complained about that on this channel. Not that you're saving money on the sales, but it's almost like a sense of pride for me. They put a lot of their stuff on sale. This is why the people who complain about the $70 thing, blame Sony. Sony was the one that set that standard because they don't have any money, right? Which we're finding out right now, and a lot of people are trying to defend them, right? And they're trying to attack the source of where this is coming from. And by the looks of it, the source is actually credible. Now, whether you want to believe that person or not, and in some of the reading of it, it looks like it's something. I'm not saying he's speculating, but he's an analyst, right? Um, and so what it is when you're looking at what he's trying to say, take it for what it's worth, right? Take it with a grain of salt and stuff like that. But the great thing about it is that it's happening to the PlayStation side. And I know that sounds petty. Like I said yesterday, guys, I was going to do a petty podcast talking about this kind of stuff because I think it bears saying because of the narrative that's been spun around Xbox and what we've been dealing with since 2013 when Xbox One launched. Right, this is the Xbox tax that we talk about. Like I said, it's not just about the Game of the Year awards. Like I said, I don't care about the Game of the Year awards, but this is the culmination of things that's been happening over the last 10 to 12 years. Whatever, 20, 13 years. No, 10 years. Right? This is the culmination of things that we've been dealing with for the past 10 years, guys, nonstop, all the time. In fact, I was listening to somebody's podcast, and I don't want to shout out the wrong guy and give credit to the wrong person. But he was making that point as well. The podcast I was listening to, he kind of fell off at the end. That's the only thing about his podcast. This dude, I know hate towards him if I can remember. That's why I don't want to assign. I think I know who it is, but in case I'm wrong, because I listen to a lot of different podcasts lately, and not just Xbox. I was listening across the board. A lot of stuff. People breaking down the failure of the Marvels and the failure of Disney, which they will never learn, dude. If you're a Disney Marvel fan, dude, I've begrudgingly accepted the fact that they're never going to change, right? Because they're not making the changes they need to turn that franchises, turn those two big franchises around, and those franchises are Star Wars and the Marvel movies that they make, right? But the person that I was listening to made a great point about um, how Xbox is constantly in the news, for good and bad. But when it's something that's bad, right, it's a constant beating of the drum with Xbox. Again, this is why the Xbox tax is real. Hold on, guys. Let me check my. Okay, okay. We're good. We're good. I hope you guys can hear me. Looks like the microphone is working. Yeah, I do this kind of stuff, dude. I have all kind of. That's why I should. I really should. I do stuff on the fly like this, dude, just because it was something that I felt passionate about that I wanted to talk to you guys specifically, But hold on. Yeah, okay, it's working. Looks like it's working. But yeah, when you do stuff like this, right, you run the risk of not being prepared, which I'm not. Um, but yeah, so I mean, I'm all in for this, for whatever happens to PlayStation, right? Because again, that's the problem with the PlayStation fan base. They just focus on other things besides their own brand. You guys should be playing your own games. You guys should be looking at your own console. Look at your own company that you guys worship, right? And that's one of the things. Do you know that somebody's a pony when they're trying to debate you when it comes to anything video games, right? Because they'll throw aspersions on other people's consoles, right? Or whether it's Nintendo, Xbox, PC, portable, whatever, mobile. These guys will cover the whole gamut of what's wrong with all these other platforms, with companies, these other players in the video game industry. They'll do all of that, right? But they never will talk about Sony. Sony has to do something really bad, like what they did recently um, with Spider-Man, right? And what happened was a lot of these guys were just reactionary because the Spider-Man 2 reviews, and they were having problems with the game, and most of them were trying not to even acknowledge it. But a lot of people were sharing videos, right? And so if you put yourself out there, it's basically like that old saying, throwing stones from a glass house, right? They do this stuff all the time, but now it's boomeranging back, and it's hitting them back, right? And they don't like it, you know. And that's what I mean when I'm talking about a PlayStation tax video. I absolutely love all of it. I'm here for all of it. I'm going to comment on it. We're going to talk about it on this channel, right? Because these dudes deserve this, man. Because they need to learn. They really do, right? These guys are tone deaf to their own troubles within their own ecosystems, right? Sony is doing a lot of stuff right now that a lot of us would say if Xbox was doing it, the media, everybody would be piling on. Even other Xbox guys would be, right? If Xbox was in the same position as Sony, all of this would be frontline news or front page news. All would be hearing it 24/7. Xbox is going to die. Microsoft's going to cut them, and they've done that. They've done that before. And when they were doing that before, there was no indication that Microsoft felt that way. Microsoft stayed quiet about it. You know what I mean? But they got 5 million other things going on. They're $1 trillion company. But all these guys was pushing that Xbox is not going to do it. They just still do it today. Maybe not as hardcore, right? Because they've been taking body blows, right? They've been taking left hooks to the head, right? Microsoft has just been blasting them right in the face, with some of the big things that Microsoft does on that corporate scale that Sony can't even come close to touching. This is why the AKB deal was such a huge thing, $80 billion, right? And you can see the after effects of what happened since that deal has passed, right? And like the guys were saying on the podcast earlier, hey, what up, Zobi? Xbox tax, dude, it's just bias. That's the way I put it when I talk to people to explain it to them. That's all it is. It's just the bias that Microsoft has to deal with, right? And it mostly comes from the PlayStation side. I'm just going to be honest with you. Just like the whole thing I was saying earlier, Zobi, about when I talk about like the Game Awards and stuff like that, I don't watch it. You don't have to watch it, dude. There's really nothing for me to watch. Like Hebot says, the most people watch it for the clips, which is cool. And I get that I'm older. I try and keep that in mind, dude. That like me and you, dude, we're probably. Well, I think I might be older than you, but we grew up in a different time when it came to gaming, right? When we grew up, people actually like games. But nowadays, there's a lot of politics involved with it, and I'm talking about industry politics, not politics. There's politics in it, but it's the industry politics, and then the console war stuff, right? But if everybody would just stay in their camps, right, and enjoy their stuff, gaming would be a lot better, if we're being honest. So it's just the bias that Microsoft deals with, And the thing, and the reason why I know this is true is because when I bought the Xbox One, I was a multi-console person. I'm a Sega fan, right? And I died when the Dreamcast went away, dude. That was it for me when it came to supporting a team. You know, I'm still Sega, but I mean, once they left the console industry, dude, that was it. My whole perspective on everything changed. So I don't have the vested interest like somebody like a PlayStation fan does or a Nintendo fan does, right? Because I am an Xbox guy, but that's just because they give me what I like, and they're the only ones that push the envelope like Sega did back in the day. The only difference being is they have the money to do it. Where Sega took a lot of risks and did a lot of cutting edge things, man. But at the bottom line, you got to make that money. So that's all it is, dude. It's just bias. It's just another way to say bias. But a lot of these guys are saying that Xbox guys are being salty about the Game Awards and stuff like that, and they are. There are people doing that, and those are pony bots, bro. Like real Xbox dudes, like or people that rep Xbox like I do, we don't care. And Hebot was saying again, I'll repeat this, but Hebot was saying that a lot of people just watch the Game Awards for the trailers, and I honestly believe that. But that's why I don't have to watch the Game Awards because we have Twitter or X or whatever they're calling it now. You have social media, right? So everybody will post it. Xbox does that already. They'll post their video. It'll be on something. Will be put on Jeff Keighley's award show, but then it'll go right onto their account. So all I have to do is actually file Xbox Wire, and then I'll see everything I need to do or need to know. And that's the thing. I mean, if you want to be specific, Zobi, you could say, and I know that you like Nintendo. You could say there's a Nintendo tax, right? The reason why I'm saying PlayStation tax is because all this stuff that PlayStation, I'm not talking about the ponies, man. Their hardcore fan base has been doing all these years is coming back to bite them in the ass. Is what the point of this video. So there's some sarcasm in there, right? Because I don't know if you saw the news, but the latest report came out that Sony is in trouble of going bankrupt. Now, the person who put the article in there, like take that with a grain of salt. It's just like anything else that comes out in the industry, right? It's just somebody's analytical interpretation of what's going on with the numbers. But if I was a hardcore Sony fan, dude, I would not dismiss it either, right? Because you see, if you take into consideration everything that's been going on for the past 2 years, especially in 2023 alone, with what's going on with PlayStation and where they find themselves right now, right? If I was a hardcore PlayStation fan, I would be worried. Straight up, real talk. This is something, this is what I said earlier. Instead of worrying about what Xbox is doing or what Nintendo is doing or what Steam is doing, you guys need to focus on your own console and your own company and make sure that they got their stuff lined up. Because in a little bit of I know what the guy was saying in the article, right, is basically the numbers on the actual console sales, which is what a lot of people promote when it comes to Sony, right? In fact, a lot of people is again jumping all over Xbox because of the numbers coming out with the console sales in Europe, and how it's not making the numbers or whatever. It doesn't look good for them, and of course, everybody brings up the thing about see, this is why they won't make another console. This is why Xbox eventually will become an app. This is why Xbox will sell to Tencent. I've seen all kind of ridiculous stuff. Right. Now the app thing and all that kind of stuff, I don't know. But to me, that's in the far future. And that'll be at Microsoft's discretion. That's why I tell a lot of the people on the Xbox side is not to worry about this stuff. The only person you need to watch is Microsoft when it comes to any of this stuff, right? Because they will decide when the Xbox they're done with Xbox. Nobody else. There could be some outlying factors that could help influence their decision, but ultimately, because I've seen Microsoft do that, we've seen Microsoft do that with their business practices. They can have something that some people might deem successful, and they just shut down the whole division, or they just stop doing the product. That's just how they roll. right? So and even on the Xbox side, that's something to be cognizant of. It's something that I'm cognizant of. That's why I just talked about the Black Friday deals with the movies and stuff like that. I don't normally pay more than $10 for any of the digital content, right? Because I don't know if I'll have that in the future. And I know you talk about that as well, man. Like I believe you. I'm on the same boat as you do. You will own nothing and love it, right? That's what the powers that be want us to move to that system. They want us to be that way. For me, on my what I do on my part is I try and negate as much of that as possible. And sometimes that just means I don't participate in the system. Right. That's the conscious choice I make when it comes to my purchasing. Right? And I'm just not talking about pop culture stuff or gaming stuff. I'm talking across the board. Right. Whatever I do. Right. That I'm cognizant of that fact. Right. I'm sober in my thinking, and I'm awoke to the reality of what's actually going on in the world. Right. So there's some things that you can't do anything about. So you basically just move yourself into a position, right? And that position, the position you put yourself in, that's what's going to cause you to avoid or at least mitigate some of the damage from these plans that all these new world order people are doing, right? And then we can even keep it at ground level. We'll keep it at ground level with gaming. Okay, we won't go to the whole other realm, but we'll keep it within gaming. There's the stuff that you can do to mitigate, right? Like there's a lot of people complaining about the $70 price tag, which Sony did, by the way, bringing that back up. Um, hey, what's up, T? Yeah, sorry, man. I'm a bit slow on the draw. T, I was gonna just do a singular, but yeah, you can jump in. I've already gone all over the place with this. Hold on, T. Yeah, and then brother, you know me, man. Yeah, this is the one. I'm pretty sure this is the one. Wait, is this it? When is this? Hold on, T. I might have sent you the wrong one. Yeah, Zoe, thanks for stopping in. I always appreciate your perspective, bro. I watch your videos, man. I might not comment all the time, but I do watch your stuff, man. And that's another difference between. Well, okay, I can't say Xbox guys, but I'll speak for myself. You have to get different reviews and stuff. Hey, T, I send it to you. See if you can jump in. I send it to you, T. You know, I'm gonna drop off my it looks like it's fine. I'm gonna drop off the YouTube channel. T, let me know if you can see it. Yeah, T. Yeah, jump in. We'll run it for a little while. Yeah, I definitely want to hear your perspective. I know we did a podcast yesterday, but you had a lot of stuff going on too. So, yeah, there you are. Hey, what's up, T?
Hey man, what up? Yeah, I don't mind doing more of these in a row. That's actually quite fun.
Yeah, I was listening to you and talk and
Yeah, I needed a little bit of a break after we were done though, so that's why I went for a walk and then I came back and then I was like, I was about to actually go to sleep, but then I was like, no, I saw you doing this, and I was like, no, I'll do it. I have nothing else to do all night, so let's have some fun.
Yeah, dude, my stuff was trying to download yesterday. It shut off. I'm trying to re-download it. The
Yeah, you said
Minecraft.
you have to download Minecraft again, right?
Yeah, dude, it's just you know what it is, man. It's just the connection here, dude. It takes me a long time. What I normally do when a game is gonna come out is I'll like before I go to bed, I'll download the game while I'm sleeping, and then when I get up in the morning, it's usually done. There's been times like that was it Warhammer 40K, the Dark Tide game, dude. Man, I had to re-download that. I don't know, it stopped. I was like so sick because I wanted to play. Um, and then I don't even want to talk about COD, dude. COD was a pain to download, dude. That was irritating. I kept on getting bounced to the menu. And at some point, I was thinking, look, dude, I know I have boomer tendencies, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's why with the I just bought the $99 one or the most expensive one for COD, just so I made sure I had everything, so I didn't have to deal with it later.
Yeah, no, and you're level 48, you said?
I think when we left, yeah, I wasn't that high. Oh yeah, I was 48, but I know you're 55 already.
Yeah, I'm level 55 already. I want their prestige system.
I know, I was so mad because I knew you were, and I couldn't do anything about it because I was hanging out with my family.
Yeah, I did it on Friday morning. I was finished Friday morning, and I
I
was
know, I got
excited.
your tweet.
I was actually quite happy. I got the 100 gamer score achievement for it, and I
Oh,
was
nice. I know, I was
uh,
gonna tell you, I was gonna write you, yeah, you suck. I was gonna write you.
yeah, no, I did that. I did that Princess of the Universe clip, and then I was done for the week. So I was like, I was all set there. And
For
my Instagram already has 1,200 followers on it,
Yeah, good, bro. Good. Yeah,
so I'm
good stuff.
actually kind of
It's
happy
unfortunate
about
you can't
that.
do videos. Yeah, I wish you
But
could show you.
I run into all these random little, for a better of a word, beggars that just don't give up, and they all tend to be women, and it's just really annoying.
Yeah, they just want to hop on. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and they keep asking for Xbox cards to have their kids play Xbox, and I'm like, what the hell is an Xbox card? I mean, I know what a Microsoft card is.
Yeah,
I buy one every single time I want to buy a game, but I don't know what an Xbox card is.
yeah,
And then they keep asking for Apple cards, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna buy you shit. So
yeah. That's how it is on the internet, right? It's just
yeah,
like I get
yeah,
those
but it
messages.
gets really annoying after a while, and then you
Yeah,
finally think you have somebody, and then they just turn around and go the other direction, and it's just really annoying.
yeah, dude. I mean, it's the state of the internet, dude.
And you
Especially,
know who actually actually hit me up on Twitter today?
oh, who's that?
Uh, Stone King, Stone King X.
Oh man, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, he said
Oh, what's he doing?
he said he remembered me from E-Rock show. And he shouted he bought out and everything. He added me on Twitter, and he didn't even know he still had me on Xbox. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm connected to you. I added you a couple years ago.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I miss the old crew. I mean, at least the guys that played. Um,
Yeah,
like some of the guys I got on my thing, but we don't talk or play and stuff. So I'm like, people move on or whatever. But
yeah.
it was fun, man. Last week was fun, dude. I enjoyed that.
So what's your view on a PlayStation tax?
Yeah, so Sega Man said, he said, I think Sega Forever is being sarcastic, and I am. Um, because what's happening is like everything's turning, right? Like there's two big stories: the whole going out of business thing. Like
Well, I would say the PlayStation tax is what's suing PlayStation.
yeah, and that's the second thing was them getting sued. And the reason why I'm saying I'm doing this video again sarcastically, is because I'm enjoying that, right? They try to use the power of the government, the ponies and Sony, their company of choice. They tries to use the power of the government to try and hurt Microsoft, right? And now it's boomerang back. That's what I said. And when all of this AKB deal stuff kicked off, I was one of the first people saying this, man. I was like, dude, you don't want to do this, man, because the government doesn't care, right?
No,
You
it's gonna be paradise for Xbox and absolutely hell for PlayStation.
The fact that Jim Ryan didn't testify in person said a lot because we all know Sony has skeletons in their closet.
But do you think that the Game Pass activation will cut COD's revenue in half if all they get from their revenue is PlayStation costs?
It probably will have an impact, but I doubt it'll be. I think it's a base plus, right? Because if you see what happened with Starfield and Forza, people still bought the game that are hardcore. And then
Yeah,
the thing that you want the most, and this is just the thing with subscription service, you just want people to stay in there, right?
because
So
COD 2024 is coming to Game Pass.
which one? COD 20? Yeah. You're saying
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
So
it
Go
doesn't
4 is
surprise.
coming to Game Pass, and that's going to be a huge leap in the right direction.
Well, you remember we were talking the other day, and that's why I was asking you about the menus. Like when I navigate the menus in Modern Warfare 3, it just seems to me like it was easy, number one, for me to navigate as opposed to other Modern Warfare 3. It takes or other Modern Warfare games. It takes me a little while to kind of find my way around. But everything just feels like a storefront. And I know some people hate that, right? Because the first thing that pops into their mind, and this is not a bad, I'm just being honest, right? I don't blame them because the first thing that can pop into your mind is monetization and money, right? Um, but I'm just saying, it's just like when I look at it, I could actually see in Game Pass this being a hub where you just go into one Modern Warfare and and a whole universe opens in front of you. And I'm talking the backwards compatible games because they already got that, right?
Yeah.
And if you listen to what Activision is saying, and Phil Spencer in his interviews, as soon as Phil says something, man, these guys go like and I'm like this by nature, man. I'm pessimistic by nature. But everybody goes like to the dark side, right? But when I'm listening to Phil, I'm like, okay, we won't have anything because we got to prep for 2024. That could mean a whole bunch of things, right? It could mean that they're tired because they have to deal with the court case, which I'm pretty sure they were. But it also could mean that they're going to give Activision, Blizzard, some time, right, to align their product to where they need to be as far as internally, because they had a lot of stuff going on at the company itself, but also to present itself when they finally get into Game Pass, if that makes sense. I see nothing but upside with this.
Yeah.
Because what happens with COD, right, is a lot of people buy it up the front end, and they will continue to do so,
Yep.
because not everybody's going to be in Game Pass. But one of the positives from it is that you just keep people subscribed who are going to use Game Pass. Because people don't understand that. I don't. This drives me nuts that people say this. It actually works in Xbox advantage, but I don't like it because it can be bad as well. People have this belief that Xbox Game Pass is free, right? I see people do that all the time, and I see it in the media as well. Like some people will say the new free games coming from Game Pass. It's not free, dude. You pay for it, right? The thing is that the deal is so good, you feel like it's free, right? That's what a lot of people. Because if
Yeah.
people look at how much money they have to spend on actually buying the games individually, of course Game Pass is the better option. And another
Yeah.
thing that Xbox has done is they've taken the Game Pass model, and these games just don't pop in and out like a demo, right? They stay in for a long amount of time.
Yeah.
But if you can get people to not realize that, and I don't want to make it sound like it's shady, but people feel like they're getting such a great deal with Game Pass that it doesn't bother them. And you got to think about it this way: a lot of games, right? This is the problem that they're having with. This is why Spider-Man is such a hot topic with PlayStation, because people are beginning to realize that when this game launches, it sells a couple million, and then that's it. It drops off. Then you make sales down the road on on bundles. That's why the bundle thing, like Ebot always talks about. Or then when you have a Black Friday sale, then you can get it half price, right, and stuff like that. Now, if you take Game Pass, it's technically you're paying every month. You're paying what I pay what 17.50.99 for the ultimate. I think you got to pay 10.99 for the basic, but then every month you're paying that money. So every month Microsoft is getting income. It just doesn't stop when somebody stops buying like Outer Worlds, like Obsidian launched Outer Worlds, and then it does like maybe there's a couple million, and then the next thing you have, it drops off. It'll drop off, right, and then they'll probably sell maybe a couple thousand on sales or Black Friday, or maybe they bundle it or they do whatever they need to do, and people start buying it again. But it's not gonna. You're never gonna. It's just like movies. It's just like the opening week on a movie. That's why it's so pop. It's so big. They want to hit those big numbers in the opening week because it tends to drop off. Well,
Yeah.
Microsoft found a way with Game Pass for it not to drop off. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. If they have 20 million subscribers, this is why I did those videos about Bulletproof. Like, if they can get 50, that would be awesome. If they get 100 million, it's game over. If they can
Yeah.
get that, like, active. So, like I know you follow Blizzard, right?
Sometimes I do.
Do you play World of Warcraft?
I used to.
A lot of the World of Warcraft guys. I know I was watching Asmongold, and he's a big proponent of them putting it on console and putting it in Game Pass.
Yeah, I would love for them to do that. I would
Yeah.
love for them to put it on console, and I would love for it to be a console accessible game.
Yeah. And then a lot of haters.
And then that would just say goodbye PC and hello console. Is
Yeah.
basically what that would say.
Yeah, and that could help Xbox expand on the PC stuff, on the PC
Yeah.
side as well. Because
But
I
I
know,
think that's the one reason why Microsoft is afraid of doing that. And I'm afraid I'm personally think they're afraid that if they put it on console, then there's going to be no more drive to the PC, and that's technically what they really really care about. So
one thing
that's what Blizzard cares about. So and they love their PC numbers.
I guess being under Microsoft though, I wonder. It was interesting to see Mikey Barr's reaction. You can tell he was genuinely relieved and happy.
Well, is it Mikey Barra? Yeah, it's Mikey Barra that's head of Xbox gaming now, right?
No, Blizzard. He's the president.
Oh, Blizzard guy. Okay.
He came from Microsoft and he worked at.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So he's at Blizzard now. All right. Yeah. Well, as long as you can keep the PC stride going and get the console along with it, then you're golden. And
Yeah.
I think that's technically what they should do. In fact, what you could do is you could put crossplay on it, and then you would automatically have that problem solved.
Yeah. I think there's going to be some culture clash, definitely, in the
Yeah,
beginning. But if they can find a way to smooth that out and transition it as quickly as possible, and then a lot of people are hating on the idea and stuff like that, and then talking about the numbers, and then look what happened. Then 30 million on Halo, right? And that
yeah,
squashed all that. See, if you there's this, I look at things in patterns, T. So every time I notice that people, especially when they talk about Xbox, a lot of these people. This is why I don't listen to most people. Hey, Google, welcome, brother. I'm here for the wisdom proceed. Thanks. Yeah, you got T on here today, man. He will be dropping knowledge too. Um, if you guys didn't know, T like occupies a space in our community or in our circle, our Xbox circle, on a perspective that the rest of us don't have. Like Dea comes from the PC side, on top of knowing you guys gaming stuff. Um, and it's something that we need. It's something that we need because the way Microsoft is moving forward, right? Variety is going to be the spice of life for Microsoft.
yeah.
So, like I don't know anything. That's why I just asked T about World of Warcraft. I don't know anything about World of Warcraft. I knew my friends played it. I had hardcore play it. They tried to get me to play it, but I'm just not a PC guy. Um,
Yeah.
but I know that when this happened, a lot of people were happy about it. Now, granted, a lot of these guys were not
They're
happy.
already making a second movie too.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I I think Microsoft at this point in time, and you saw the. I'm pretty sure you saw these other articles, T, where they talked about 10 years ago, right? What Microsoft was being killed for, is now everybody likes it,
Yeah.
right? This whole, guys, if you did not know this, Xbox One stood for the all-in-one box because of what the 360 did, guys, and this is
Yeah,
what,
and I still think it holds that name to this
yes,
very day.
yes, because Microsoft looks at things in generations, guys. Sony might say generations, but they don't. They don't. Microsoft actually looks at things in generations. The reason why the Xbox One was the way it was is because of the 360. Number one, and number two, moving forward, this is the way the future is going to be. And I'm not saying you have to like it. Look, dude. I mean, Hebot and Sega Man, we got some hardcore people in our audience, man. That are diehard physical people, right? So it'd be great if they look at both, and that's what Microsoft does. I mean, that's the only probably positive that came out of all that 2013 hate. Phil Spencer, number one, but number two, Microsoft is not. They don't. They look at every single thing, dude. And this is why Sony people are scared. They don't understand. That's the sad thing about it. These ponies do not understand what's going on, but they know the feeling, and the feeling is bad. It's bad for them. They just can't understand why it is, and the reason why they can't understand it is because they're blinded by their own biases and ignorance. And I'll just be honest, stupidity. You want to see one of the worst fan bases alive, right? It's, the Sony pony is one of the they're unbelievable to watch. I'm sorry, Ted. I didn't mean to cut you off. So you were saying about World of Warcraft?
Yeah, they're making a second movie.
Okay. Yeah, that first movie was actually pretty good. And I don't know anything
Yeah, it
about
was.
Warcraft that deep. Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, my boy from Vikings in it, so that's why I watched it. He was the human dude. I don't know the character he played, but I loved Vikings at the time, and he was the main character, Ruskar. And so he got tapped to be in that movie, and I was like, oh, did I watch it? He's in it. I
Nice.
mean, that's in my wheelhouse anyway. I would have watched it anyway, but you know what I mean? That was a good incentive.
Yeah.
Did you like the CG? Did you have a problem with the CG?
No, I didn't. The CG was fine.
Yeah, I thought the characters looked good.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that movie. I liked it to the point where I watched it at least 3 times.
Hey T, Gogo asked, they're making a new movie. What the story? Oh, what do you know? The story, the premise.
I don't know the story. I just know they're making a second one. I know it's in development right now.
Gogo said, I liked the last WoW movie. It was decent. Yeah, Gogo. I don't know if you guys watched Dungeons and Dragons, the new one.
I just got it today, actually.
Oh, did you buy it? Did you like it?
Yeah, I did. I got it for $10.
Yeah, that's even better, right? You got the UHD, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, see, that's another thing, guys. Go on the Microsoft store during Black Friday. Anytime Microsoft has sales, man, because Microsoft has no shame.
And I also bought myself the Battlestar Galactica series from 2004.
Nice.
I got it for $75.
Oh, that's what 50% off then, man.
Yeah.
The whole series.
The whole series, all 78 episodes.
Dude, you want to hear something, dude? I was one of these guys because I'm old school, right? So I remember the original series, and I love the original series. In fact, I have the Cylon box set, the Cylon head box set for the movies with all the stuff inside, and I still got it. And I love that. I love that series when I was growing up. And so when they announced the new one and they were gonna do the swap of Boomer and Starbuck, right? And I was like, what? What are they? I was one of those dudes like getting mad. And
Yeah.
then Dirk Benedict and then Richard Hatch was actually talking about it as well. And
Well,
so
I like that Sharon became the Cylon and Starbuck became the Angel.
yeah, yeah, that was cool.
That
That
was
was
really cool, and I liked how they did the last 2 seasons of the show,
yes, I
where
did.
they had all the new Cylons on one side versus the other ones that just didn't
Yes,
want anything to do with it.
yeah.
And I thought that was really good writing, and I thought they did a really good job with that.
The only bad thing about that it was because it's very rare that shows can close out like that. I think that wore the creator out, dude. He was
Yeah, but the main thing now is I'm kind of mad is I didn't get the start of it because the series doesn't start where the miniseries starts.
right.
The miniseries is technically what you have to watch first, and then you watch the main series. So technically, I did not do that. I only got the main series, so I didn't get the miniseries. So I still have to get that, but I'll get that for Christmas.
Yeah, there was like a what do they call it, regeneration thing going on in the backstory. That's how they explain it, and that's credit to the guy who was working on the show, and I give him ultimate credit because he took a lot of flack, but he like you see what Disney does now when people critique them, they get all pissed off, and then their actors say stupid crap. This dude actually went the extra effort. And this is why I love Katie Sackhoff. I love her to this day. She was taking the hits from replacing being a female playing the Starbuck character. And when I watched, there's the thing. This is when Twitter first kicked off, I believe, right? But I remember they posted this on social. I seen it on social media somewhere. Might have been Facebook, but it's basically two Starbucks. So they had her and Dirk Benedict, right, together with cigars in their mouth in a Starbucks. So it's like, look, two Starbucks in two Starbucks in a Starbucks, and Dirk Benedict kind of gave her the blessing. I gave her the blessing, and Katie Sackhoff handled it like a pro that she is, and I've loved her ever since. And everything she's in, I support her. Like she played, she was just in The Mandalorian, um, and so I wanted her to actually be Captain Marvel. I think she would have been a great Captain Marvel instead of the one that they casted. Um, yeah, but yeah, I'm glad you got that show, man. I might have to go check that out. I'm actually looking at picking up Family Matters. They got the complete season on there for $49.99.
Yeah, I still have to get my Preacher season 1 though. I don't have that yet. I only got season 2 and 3.
Which one?
Preacher.
Preacher. What's that?
That's the show from what was it? Fox.
Oh, okay. Now I remember. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's with angels and demons.
yeah. That's the one they did. Well, that's based off
I,
of.
I actually watched the ending of the series and I was like, wow, that was actually a really twist turner. I didn't actually expect that writing right there in my face, but that was actually really good.
How much is it?
I had it going on a marathon.
Yeah, I missed those. When you had cable, you could do that. They'd have those marathon ones, and then Netflix basically took that over. But now Netflix doing their own thing now.
Yeah,
So,
but they don't have everything on Netflix. Not everything is on
oh
Netflix.
no,
But Netflix just added Real Steel to it and Blue Samurai, and I watched both of those, and I love Real Steel. So Real Steel, I'll watch the ending fight over 50 times while I smoke, and I'll legitimately just have that running in the background.
yeah, they got great content. I'll give
Yeah.
them. But I do like the studios got smart, and then they started pulling back on their original content. But it's like I think Hebot was talking about this earlier, dude. That these guys was it Hebot that was talking about it? How these guys get greedy? Because he was
Yeah.
talking about how these developers have these old games and Antstream. So Antstream, right? I can't use it, bro, because probably where I'm at, it doesn't play well for me, which I was really sad because it got games that I really wanted to play. So I did the trial, so I probably won't renew it, because I don't think it's going to get any better for a while for me anyway. And but I would like Hebot was saying, these guys they realized they had the property and they want more money for it, which I think for me I'm like, look, dude, this thing's old. Just take what they can afford to give you, but it's their property. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these guys got smart because that's why you don't see some of the content on a place like Netflix, right? These guys are like, okay, we're gonna sell it. So for me, like I was talking about earlier, what I'll do is I'll just adjust my spending accordingly. I'll just be like, okay, I'll just wait for you guys to put on sale. So, Gogo says Lich King would be cool for a Warcraft movie. Yeah, dude, I think it would be. I know it's one of the expansions, right? I know a lot of people
Yeah.
like. BSG Modern is one of my favorite shows ever. Yeah, dude, it surprised me how much I liked it. And another thing that they did, Gogo, was they actually invited Richard Hatch on. That helped a lot of the older fans transition over to the new show. And once they got the fans in and they realized how good it was, everybody was on board. It's very rare that fandoms do that. Caprica was good too. Yeah, you know what it was? Because it was on Sci-Fi Channel, right? And at that
Yeah.
time, I was having so much. I was just not liking sci-fi, dude. Because there were so many shows that I would be into, and they canceled it. Because I believe Sci-Fi had Dresden Files. No, it was Dresden Files on. Was it on Sci-Fi? Maybe it was on UPN or another. Anyway, but there's shows that I would like on there that they died, like The Warehouse. I love The Warehouse, but I could tell.
Stargate Atlantis and Stargate SG-1 were also really good.
Yeah, and they did the Galaxy one, right?
Yep.
Stargate Universe, which started off. I loved the way it started off, but then it just died out. It's just Sci-Fi just couldn't. Dude, it was just like Image Comics back in the day. They just couldn't put out content, and then stuff would get canceled. So I just stopped watching it altogether because I didn't want to do that. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, that's fine. Caprica. Caprica was good. Like again, sorry, it wasn't anything to do with the show itself. It's just sci-fi. I was just getting tired of them. The idea of the AI having faith in monotheistic religion was cool. I like that they developed that a lot. Yeah, that's what we call good writing, Google.
Yeah. That's what we call good writing. Is exactly what you call Battlestar Galactica.
Maybe I'll buy this set. Maybe I'll buy this. Maybe I'll buy it too. T, and then I'll send.
Yeah, no, because I was surfing for stuff to buy, and then I remembered that I wanted the Battlestar Galactica series, and I was like, can I actually get the entire series for $75? I was like, are you kidding me? I have to go on an adjusted eighth for the rest of the week, but I can afford it, and I actually bought it for myself, and I was like, I was so souped, and I got most of everything that I needed today, so I was actually kind of happy. And I got everything. I got everything that I needed, and now I'm just set for the week, and I don't have anything to do till next Sunday. So, but Christmas is coming up, so I want to start saving my money for Christmas presents and stuff like that. So, I got to start cutting back on how much I smoke and how much I want to save for people. So, that's gonna be the fun part of the next month, I guess.
Yeah, that's how
I can do it in 3 weeks, and I can definitely do it before Christmas. It's not that big of a problem. It's just I have to pace myself.
That's how we become financial analysts all of a sudden. Yeah. We start moving money around, and we can hang.
I saw my brother's house today. It's actually really cool. He doesn't have internet yet, though. My brother's house.
Oh, nice. Are you gonna live with him, or are you guys gonna?
No, though I could, because he does have an extra room, but yeah, no, he has cats, and I'm allergic to cats, so I can't be I can't be in that area very long. And when I am, it always hits up my allergies eventually, and I have to watch for that. So, and he's got like 3 cats.
Yeah, that wouldn't work out too.
But they also got a dog, so it's not that big of a deal. But they just moved there, so it's actually really cool, and it's a 2-story house.
Oh, nice.
It actually has a basement too, so it's 3 stories.
Well, see, the basement might be where you can wall it off. You know what I mean?
I didn't actually go down in the basement, but I saw that he had a door for it, so I saw it was there.
Is it a brand new home, or?
It's brand new.
Oh, nice, dude. I don't know. We want to think about that.
And it has a backyard and everything. They have a garage.
Yeah, dude.
It's a pretty shitty garage, but it's a garage.
Oh, dude, the things you can do nowadays, though, with your garage, it's amazing.
Yeah. But they had a whole bunch of leaves in the background, and I'm like, yeah, you have to deal with leaves now. That sucks to be you.
I will say this, bro. I think it hits different when it's your own, though. You know what I'm saying? When you have to do it for somebody else. But I was saying, T, I'm going to buy it and send it to Kevin Feige. I say, here, watch this series if you haven't watched it. And see how plot, story, and characters can be developed. Maybe this will help you out for your movies. Um, Preacher is by the writer who did The Boys on there. Oh wow, I didn't know that. I had no idea. Dang, Gogo, you should be on this podcast with us. Or writer, oh the writer. Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Typo, that's okay. Okay, see, Gogo says yes. Dresden Files was on Sci-Fi. Yeah, that was a good show. Unfortunately for me, like I watched the show. Not unfortunately, it's probably fortunate. I watched the show before I actually read the books, and there's similarities, but yeah, the books are very different. And of course, it's being a book, right? There are a lot more detail, which I really like. Um, the summer and winter court thing was really cool in the books.
Yeah.
No spoilers, yeah. But that whole, I just love Paul the actor who played Harry Dresden. I really liked him, and in fact, he would go on to play Flash. He could be in the new Flash TV series. He was the detective, and he did a good job on that too.
Oh, Grant Austin.
No, the guy who played the detective, Paul. I want to say Blackthorn is his name, but he played Harry Dresden, the main character. And
Okay.
even though when you read the book, Dresden doesn't fit the look like what I envisioned in my mind. I like the way he played the character because one of the best things I love about Harry Dresden, of course, is because he's a wizard. So technology won't work for him, right? So the stuff that he has is all like it can't be like modern. Like I think he like his vehicle and stuff like that. So he has to always take that into consideration when he's doing stuff. Um, when they went to sci-fi from sci-fi and pronounced it see, pronounced it sci-fi. Yeah, see, yeah, when they did that, a lot of people got mad about that. Hey, Toolman's in the house. What's up, Toolman? Now we're just talking about the PlayStation tax. Uh, I know T. I was watching the first half of the. Yeah, but welcome to man. Welcome. We're just talking about all the stuff that's going on with Sony right now, which is wonderful to watch. But T, you're talking about that Sega Man show, right? What you guys were about that? Well, you're
Yeah.
talking about. I got the Destin part first, so I didn't get to finish.
Yeah. No, Dustin. From what we were saying last night, what I wanted to say again was the fact that Dustin is definitely not a neutral. He can act that all he wants, but he's not
Yeah,
a neutral. It
yeah.
doesn't work for him. We had New Legal post something on Twitter this morning that was massively funny, and it was funny. It was Dustin getting slammed in his video, saying that IGN uh, the IGN thing was not actually there.
Yeah. I didn't see that one. I
Yeah,
know. My rule in life is never to be the target
yeah,
of
yeah. The
people.
damage control for IGN is in its full glory, is what the comment said.
Nice.
So he got slammed for that, and I was like, oh damn. So it's IGN is getting taxed, and I was like, yep, but you can't act neutral no more, Dustin. It doesn't work.
Yeah, either get on board, all in on board, or get off. Right. The stuff that he does, man,
Yeah,
it just pisses everybody off. Both
but
sides.
I actually caught his he did a video with PlayStation getting sued, so he's on the right track.
Yeah, man, but the sad thing about all of this is like we knew this kind of stuff was going on because we can see it ourselves. We don't need these dudes to tell us. In fact, we know more about this stuff than they do, right? And the thing about it is like you can't hide it anymore. This is why the 4 out of 10, like we talked about yesterday, the 4 out of 10 score for COD is a good thing, right? Because a lot of people that normally don't pay attention to this are like, "What are you guys talking about?" This is what's happening to the Marvels, right? People that normally are not hardcore into this stuff don't like the movie, and then you got the actors and then the studio saying, "Well, you guys are bigots," or whatever negative connotation you throw at these people, and the people are like, "What are you talking about?" And so it's making people pay attention, and that's when things start to change, right? And that's what's happening to Sony right now, and I'm here for every moment, dude, because I love it. I love what's happening right now. Right? The truth is finally coming to light, and these guys are going to suffer, right? And it actually might make them a stronger company, a better company. I don't care about any of that personally, but it might help them actually because it'll force them to be honest about the situation they're in. Like I was saying earlier, T, you take that article that everybody's looking at right now with a grain of salt, definitely. Microsoft has been under that microscope more times than I like to say that they have. right? But at some point in time, everybody's going to get looked at, and it's Sony's time, man, because they've been they've been propped up for so long by the rabid fan base, but especially by the media. And again, going back to Destin, this is what it just blew my mind that he's that clueless. You know, like the surprise on his face is like the pushback he's getting from people. I'm like, yeah, dude, this is not just about stupid game awards, man. This is about the entirety of the Xbox One existing in this gaming media space. Let me see. I've been listening to so many podcasts this weekend all about the Xbox tax or pro Sony buyers. Yeah, because it's like I say, like everybody's talking about it now. And when the normal people start talking about it, that's when it's going to really turn global. So yeah, Destin gets super defensive for IGN. So sad. Yeah, and another thing too, like a lot of people talk about his association. He remember he's been there for a long time. He cut his teeth over there. I'll throw myself under the bus. T, I don't know how you feel about this, but there was a time I remember, man, when all of this stuff was more separated, and then when they all started combining to make these super media corporations to cover everything that I love. I was excited for it because it was like a one-stop shop and you could get everything. And of course, they had people that could write back then, and people actually were fans. And then over time, that changed, right? And then it became more corporate. And this is why you get Dustin, and why he's getting, basically, for lack of a better word, grilled, right? Because at some point, he should be self-aware to actually say something like I do on my channel. It's like, look, I'm a pro Xbox channel, right? I put that out there, right? But he doesn't even do that. Like he thinks he can do, talk about these kind of things, and people won't call him on it for his own bias, which we can see. Um, yes, MS had known about the bias for a long time, probably since the end of the 360 generation. I think the Xbox One, yeah, definitely, end of 360 and Xbox One. Destin did a thing where he brought up 2013 and how bad it was, and like he was trying to say Phil Spencer acknowledged it, and then the whole thing with what's his name? Who was before Phil Spencer and then he left? I forgot his name.
Matrick.
Yeah, Don Matrick. But Don Matrick, if you watch that interview, dude, they pretty much was pressing him.
Yeah, but Don Matrick shot himself in the foot when he said we have a 360.
Yeah, but for me, when I see that was a moment of frustration. Right?
Yeah.
Because and even Phil Spencer, when Phil Spencer was the one that announced how much the Xbox One was going to cost, and people weren't happy, right? And so Phil Spencer comes off the stage and he was like, "Oh, what's wrong? Was it the price?" Because when you're building the system and you're making it, you know the worth and the value of the system, right?
Yeah.
Right. Now it can be argued whether they should have went ahead and did that. Now that's an argument that anybody that we can a discussion that can be had. But still, on the front end, right? And it was just, dude, it was just you could see it. There was blood in the water, dude. I wasn't even super pro Xbox at the time, though I played my 360 more because I played a lot of shooters back then. This is why I'm a COD guy, T, right? Because I was heavy into COD back then. It kept me in gaming, if I'm being honest. Because I got married, had kids, all that stuff. But then COD, you can just jump in and out and continue playing. If I had my other gamer thing, I'd probably have a higher score. My other gamer time. But, yeah, dude. So I remember all of that, dude. Because it's stuck in my mind, dude, at that time. And I was like, you could see the bias even back then, right? They hit it on the consumer protection, what's good for the gamers, all that BS. Because they're doing it now. But the problem is, 10 years, fast forward 10 years now, that stuff ain't working anymore. People are beginning to, the veil's coming off, and people are going to be realizing how bad the media is. And I'm talking the media across the board, not just gaming. I say this all the time. It's like these dudes didn't want to be in gaming media. They wanted to work for the New York Post or the New York Times or Business Insider, right? But they have to take this job because that's all they had. I say let them be easy on Sony. It will hasten the demise of PlayStation. They seem oblivious to facts. Yeah, you're not wrong about that, dude. This is why you have that shock and awe when the deal went by, that deal went through, and then it hit them so bad. Like that's the most quietest I've seen Twitter in ages on the gaming space. There was not a pony around. It was like 1 or 2 days of bliss where you could focus on other things and actually share like gameplay and talk about like other the games that for game's sake. Yeah, I get it. IGN and I get it. IGN is his family in a way, but these people need to be more professional, even if they have biases. There's not much to ask for in a very popular gaming website. I think the problem with that Google is that they don't know they have bias. because this is all they know, right? If you're just used to things being a certain way, it's just like me living in Hawaii, just being used to the hot weather and complaining about humidity, and then I go to Wisconsin in the middle of like winter, right? And then I'd be like, oh, maybe the heat's not so bad. It's like that kind of awakening for these. That's how tone deaf they are. They're that bad. It's just like people telling Marvel, and even some of their strongest supporters are trying to tell Marvel now, you need to change, man. It's not working out. And Kevin Feige gets an interview, right? And he's going to say not only he's going to double down, he's going to triple down. They're going to go even stronger with the content that they're making, which nobody likes. Even the people that support them and defend them all the time are not liking what they're doing. That's the epitome of what Sony's going through right now. It's a tale of two companies that it's interesting for me to watch on both sides. The difference is, I think the failure of Marvel, I want the failure of Marvel to happen just so that they can change. And then on the Sony side, I want the failure of Sony just so I don't have to, so I can celebrate their demise. Because I have people telling me all the time, well, Sega, what if it goes away? Then what about the competition? I'm like, yeah, Microsoft has competition. It's called themselves. They're $1 trillion company with a lot of different facets, and not just gaming, right? This is a multi-trillion dollar company, and everybody has to produce and compete, so they can compete with themselves. And when Microsoft owns all the studios, right, then these studios are gonna have to step up their game because they're competing with other studios. Microsoft has the potential in 2024 if they pick up Sega, EA, hell, they buy Steam. Yeah, I'm saying Steam. I'm saying everything. I put everything on the table on this channel. I know some people might think it's ridiculous, but after you pay $80 billion for a product that nobody thought would be possible to buy, yeah, take tools on the table. I say any of that. Now, whether they want to sell or not, that's a whole other thing. But I'm just saying, Microsoft is not gun shy. Right? I say that they do it in a more credible fashion, but it'll really help them. But I mean, if they're gonna pull the trigger, I would not be surprised if like at the Game Awards or something a little time after that they start talking about who they're picking up next, and whether it's big or small, they'll do whatever they need to do. Hey T, do you think that they're gonna pick up somebody big like Steam?
They might.
When I say that, people think I'm absolutely nuts.
That's possible. I mean, if Phil Spencer really wants Steam, it'd be we already have technically Steam on crossplay, so technically we already are connected to Steam, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you wanna start adding Steam games to the console market, then go right ahead and do that.
Yeah. And again, guys, there could be a lot of that.
But I think if you add the Steam issue, I think you add a monopoly.
You think so?
I think so, yes. Because if you buy Blizzard and Steam, oh my God, that just shows a checkmate.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I'm a little bit more high on it. Because, it doesn't bother me.
But I don't really think they need to buy Steam because they already make money from Steam.
Well, yeah, like a lot of people are wanting them to do something with Embracer and their things, and they could just do a partnership with Embracer. I think that'd be actually in their best interest. You know how I am, dude. I just want them to buy everybody just to piss off ponies.
Yeah. Do you think Tencent could acquire Sony?
Yes.
Do you think they will?
If Sony goes bankrupt, yeah. I don't see why
okay.
not. People don't understand what's going on in Japan right now with their economy. Right. We have people that I live in Hawaii, and that doesn't make me an expert or anything. But what I will say is, there's a lot of people going to. A lot of my coworkers went to Japan because the yen to dollar rate is nuts. Like they're going around, like they're living it up because it's such a good exchange rate for us, not really for them. This is why I hope Microsoft does move in Japan and get some stability, at least to their gaming market. I think Microsoft's business model would do well in Japan and help save some of their content. I'm old school, dude. I like Japan being Japanese.
Yeah.
You know, I like that. I don't have a hang up of because I'm not threatened by Japan like other people are. I don't feel threatened by them in the sense of like people think that they run the industry. They don't. That time is come and gone. You can say that in the 90s when they were the trendsetters. They still set some type of trends, right? But they're not that same behemoth that they used to be. And then per dollar, I mean, America, the U.S. spends way more on anything, and not just games across the board. We are the biggest consumers. And so for me, as far as the Japanese model is concerned, I want them to be Japanese. It's just like if I go to some place like Boston, dude, I don't expect to go surfing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like if you come to Hawaii, probably don't expect to go play ice hockey. We have an ice rink here, but it's not going to be the same, right? I like them doing what they do and what they do best. And then some of the stuff that some people don't like that they do, that's fine. I just don't participate. Like I'm the same way with some of their stuff, but I just don't participate in it. But the stuff that they give me, especially when it comes to their popular culture, yeah, I'm all on board for it. So, yeah, the resolution HD scandals, it was so stupid. Yeah, exactly, Google. And look where we are now, right? It's swept under the rug once DX became the most powerful console. Everything that was thrown at Microsoft turned it around with the intent of pleasing people. Now I would like to think that they've learned, like, man, these people, they were just complaining. Like, no matter what you do, they're never happy. So what they're doing is, right, they're doing this stuff, and it helps to kill the narrative that they get attacked with in the console war, and then they can build out from it, right? Because they're trying to appeal to a bigger audience, which is why you're getting some of the stuff. It's funny, like a lot of the stuff that Microsoft got hit on, right? To you was the live service stuff. Remember when that was a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And then look, Sony says, "Oh, we have 10 Jazz games,"
Yeah.
and then it was addressed a little bit, but then it fell out of the news cycle. Man, Microsoft gets hammered like constantly about stuff. I truly think they have a vendetta against MS because of ad revenue. That's been my take on it for a while. MS seems to bypass the gaming websites when it comes to marketing compared to Sony. Um, yeah, and in some senses, I think they have to, right? Because unlike Sony, Sony doesn't get blowback for that. I mean, they're kind of getting it back now, like in the case of Dustin working for IGN, right? And some of the bennies they get. And of course, what they call that quid pro quo. But no other company gets that. Now, if Microsoft actually did this, you know that they would be like, if like Forza actually got a great score, or like let's say Starfield got an 8 out of 9, then people would bring this up and like, oh, it's because they pay for it. That would be the narrative. Look, the only way we're gonna have peace in our time is Microsoft has to destroy everything. If you want me to be honest, if you're an Xbox all in, bleed green, Xbox strong guy, the only way Microsoft is gonna get a fair shake is they need to just destroy everything. That's it. I know people don't like to hear that. And then by tomorrow, if anybody watches this video, in my comment section, I'll be a corporate shill. That's fine. I don't care. I'm just tired. I'm tired. I'm old, and I'm tired of dealing with this every year. I just want Microsoft to nuclear option it. It's like you were playing T. It's like you were playing Call of Duty the other day, and somebody on Rust, and somebody somebody got the nuke.
Yeah, and someone got the nuke and ended the entire match. I told people about that. That was really funny.
Yeah. That's what I want Microsoft. I want Microsoft to get the nuke and just end and put us all out of our misery.
Yeah, someone got that nuke. Someone went 113.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I would have loved to see that though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that was something for the nuke to take to happen on my match, and I was like, yo, that was pretty cool. I can't believe they added that ability inside the actual match.
Yeah. Gogo,
But
Tencent.
it ended the entire match. Once he got that nuke, the game is over.
It's over. Yeah, it's over. Like remember what was that Russian? You remember that house one? What was it called? The map? You have the two houses and then you fight with each other. It's that small map on Call of Duty. I can't remember the name of the map. It's that Russian.
Nuke. Is it Nuketown?
Nuketown. Yeah, Nuketown.
Yeah, Nuketown. Yeah, Nuketown is another classic.
Yeah, I love
that. That's on COD Mobile right now.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Dude, that's probably where everybody is. Playing that on there. Yeah, dude, Nuketown's one of my favorite maps. I die a lot, but it's just so much fun. Even Shipyard, I like when Shipyard came out. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Because you get people get mad because I'll hide, and then they'll come and find you. You know, and that's how you know you're getting into people's mind. Like I told you the story, right, where I spawn and I'm all by myself, and my whole team is one section, and the dude will launch a rocket. I go drop a missile, and he doesn't kill the 5 people that are on the other side. He comes directly for me, and that's how you know that that you got it. Like they're mad. I just laugh when that happens. I was like, haha, I got in your head, buddy. But let me read what Global said. Tencent being Chinese, I don't think Sony would sell to them. Yeah, that's a very, yeah, that's true. That could be the main hang up. But then again, right, with people needing money, um, and I think it's a, I think it, but I think it'll be more feasible than actually Apple buying them, if I'm being honest, because it's that Asian region, right? And that's a big brand. Sony's a big brand there. There's a guy, Lerpa on Twitter, Kobo. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I know you know Lerpa is, but he'll share that, or he or she, might share that on Twitter. They share it all the time about Sony. He shared about the impact of the South, especially in Southeast Asia, because I believe Lerpa is in the Philippines, and so in Southeast Asia, man, Microsoft has no presence. This is why I harp on Microsoft with the South Korean thing. Like some of the South Korean guys that tweet and share news, they'll talk about how they don't get the support from Microsoft. Like something like them translating the games into their actual into Hangul, which is their language, right? And I'm talking about like doing it in audio, right? And that's something Microsoft needs to do. There's a game that came out. I don't know the name of it. I think you guys might have talked about it on the podcast. Shift Up was the developer. And then there was a deal that came out with Sony that they make a deal with Sony, so we're not going to get it. Looks like we're not getting their game on Xbox, which normally wouldn't matter to me, except for the simple fact that, like, because I have so many games, right? But I know that the people that are looking forward to that game. So, I mean, like for me, I'll be fine. But I forgot the name of the game, guys. Sorry. Let me catch up with the chat. It's national pride thing, in my opinion. Yeah, they can be. They definitely have their issues. But I mean, the money though, money, money can cover, as like the old saying goes, money covers a multitude of sins. Plus, Tencent is counter paper tire. Their numbers rely on China. Yeah, I will say that it's because of their numbers, right? The population. That's why a lot of people in Hollywood and businesses here try to do business in China. Even though I will say though that doesn't always work out in their favor. Right? If you didn't know, a lot of the movie companies have to pay a tax to China, the government. I mean, right? If you guys didn't know this, China's actually communist, so that's a whole other hoop to jump. Yeah, but yeah, I am a like, well, I think China's a total paper tiger in general, or at least they're not on the power level that people were worried about years ago. I would not care at all if PlayStation had died. They've been so dirty, and I'm not much into the big games anymore. Yeah, yeah. Even to this day, I was listening to somebody today. I respect the guy, but by the end of his podcast, he ran that same old song and dance about how we need those AAA bangers, and I'm like, dude, if you haven't seen what's happening to Sony and not know you're wrong, eventually we'll get these. But then, this is why these guys are like pony bots, right? Because they go that extra effort to actually say that we need games exactly like that. I'm like, no, go buy a PlayStation, dude. If you want that game that much, go buy your PlayStation and then buy the game. Microsoft knows what they're doing, dude. These games do not sell on that level. This is why I tend to put some credence behind the whole Sony's going bankrupt. That article that's coming up. Because they're not making the profit or the money. They can throw out all the numbers they want to, man, but they lie. I don't know if you guys know this, but Sony lies. Because they don't look at it as lying, they look at it as business. Right? Their moral compass is askew, as we like to say, as old people. Nuketown can be annoying with super sweaty. Yeah, it is. It is. But that makes me love it even more, especially if I kill somebody that's like one of the top people. Because I know I'm not good. In fairness to me, there was a time where I was above average, but that day is long gone. I'm like easy. I think I'm actually 35% now. I gave myself a 40%.
You didn't do that bad when we played, bro.
Yeah, because I was with you and you had that rocket launcher. You basically carried our team, dude. You and Slim.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I'm for.
When I saw you do that, when I saw you blow up the gun, I'm like, dude, why didn't I think of that? That was like so simple. You killed like
you just got to put a rocket launcher on, and you're all set. It's easy peasy.
Yeah, I'm like over there trying to be technical, looking around corners.
You always gotta make sure you carry that ammo box with you, because if you don't carry that ammo box, that RPG is shit.
Yeah. I like using the ammo box. No, but dude, remember I was like,
you normally get 2 to 3 kills at a time with a rocket launcher. So that's the awesome part about it. No, but you get group kills like nothing. It's absolutely insane.
guys, I wish I could show the video because here I am coming around, kind of peek around the corner, I see the guys, and then I'm trying to be, kind of good, like trying to be smart about it, right? And so I'm coming, so I kind of tag them, and then they get me, right? They get the drop on me, and then all of a sudden, I'm in a firefight, and I'm like, oh, great, I'm gonna die. And T just comes around the corner, and it's like they're by a van, and all I see is this big explosion, and the whole team dies, and T just keeps on running. I'm like, I'll just follow you, dude. I just followed you to most of those games. But the one thing, T, that I will say though is just like I thought I did well. Like I had that 23. I was like, okay, I know I did well. And then T had like 27, 29 kills. You and Slayer, man. Slayer was getting the drop on people, man. I was like, dude.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was doing good. I was like, bro, this dude is. And you know what drove me nuts about that though? He was doing so well.
What?
Yeah, guys, we played with this guy Slayer. He was doing so well. Like I didn't realize how well he was doing because he talked so much, right? He was talking like nonstop throughout the whole game, which I like because I'm not really good at making conversation. But he was talking the whole time, and then he would. But it's like you think he talked like he was talking about everything, right? You remember like he was talking about his sodas, and he didn't. You wish he would have got his drinks and all this stuff. And like I said, that don't bother me. But what bothered me is like I would see his kill count, and he was always above me. This dude was always above me. I think a couple of games I was higher than him, right? But I think in his defense, I think he actually stepped away from the game. Because at some point he got quiet. I think he went to like grab something or whatever, and I was like, dude, that's crazy, man. This dude is like, that's how I know. That's what's humbling, right? Playing with you guys, and I'm like, yeah, okay. That's why I dropped myself down to 35% after that. I was like, yeah, I'm not even 40% anymore. Bogo says, agree. I don't think Apple has any interest at all. Yeah, I mean, they're the only reason I see them doing it is because they're trying to expand on their entertainment space, and Sony would be a good pickup for that, I guess. I don't know. Sony's just not the powerhouse they used to be, and again, guys, I'm old. I remember a time when they were that powerhouse in everything, entertainment and electronic. Of any other big tech, I can see Amazon buying Sony or PlayStation. Yeah, Amazon would probably want the brand. Now, if they can do anything with that, dude, like, there's so much turmoil going on at Sony right now, dude. Like they're having a lot of issues internally. That Jim Ryan thing was just the tip of the iceberg. Who knows? I mean, some of the stuff that's being talked about, but who knows? I mean, you probably just, like I said, tip of the iceberg. Who knows what's going on underneath the water? But it's not good. So I'll put it to you guys this way: if sometime this week they said Sony's out of business, it wouldn't surprise me. And again, I would be happy. And no, I do not apologize for that. Stellar Blade. Thank you, Gogo. Stellar Blade. So it's an anime. Is that why everybody's high on it?
Probably.
So Shift Up, is that a Chinese? I thought that was a Chinese company. They're all cross-pollinating anyway. Like I might have to buy a PlayStation Slim for my daughter. Because she wants to play Genshin Impact and her PC just can't hang. And it's too much space on her iPhone. And so I did some research today, and they were like, yeah, we're not coming to Xbox. So I'm like, well, I guess my daughter's going to have to get her a PlayStation so she can play that game. Maybe I'll be like Hebot. Oh, yeah, but I don't have the tech to, like, I'm like you, T. I wish I could do video. Then maybe I would review Spider-Man.
Yeah, I can't do video content on YouTube until my parents give me my Adobe back. Once they give me my Adobe software back, I'll be able to do it.
Yeah, you just better tell me if I'm playing with you. You better not be recording me.
Yeah, I'm not recording you now.
Is that Sega Forever? Oh, man, he sucks, man. What a noob. Oh, look at him. He's just sitting there. He's just, oh, look at him. He's, what do they call those guys? Camper. He's a camper, man.
He's camping, man.
He's camping, man. I was like, dude, I have to camp. This LMG is trash. This LMG is trash, and I'm old. Let me see. Oh, hey, what's up, Zing? Sorry, a little bit late. I'm trying to catch up. Yeah, I gotta catch that part. I was kind of coming in with there, but I was driving, so I kind of dropped. And Gogo says, "What's up?" Yes, there's the Twitter of a Japanese finance analyst. He was saying, "Oh, that's what it was. He's from Japan. Oh, IN RANT. Likely Sony boosted console sales numbers by up to 10 million plus. That's a huge live truth. Dude, Google, man. I'll be honest with you, not surprising at all. Not surprising at all, dude. I've been saying this for the longest time. Again, this is from a pop culture background, dude. When movies, look at Marvel. Look at what's happening with Marvel, right? They try and hide their stuff, but you can't hide the numbers, especially with an industry like Hollywood. These people need to know, right? A lot of financials tied up to it. And I don't know how Sony's been able to get away with this for so long. Dude, I never believe anything they put out. Growing
Yeah,
up in the 90s, dude. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, T. I'm sorry.
yeah. No, Google Post said playing COD again is so funny. Hearing all the mics open with the kids yapping and eating, just bad etiquette, but Jay hilarious. LOL.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude. Gogo, I love that, man. I love that, especially when they start arguing.
Yeah.
Like the dude's arguing with his girlfriend or wife or whatever. I told you I was going to be playing. They're just going back and forth, man. Then the guy realizes he shuts his mic off. But then you have the kids in the background. I like the trash talking. I love the trash talking. Reminds me of the good old days. We live in a time where that kind of stuff is frowned upon. It's probably the only negative I have, T, with what Microsoft wants to do. They want to make it an environment for everywhere everyone can play. Right? And I'm like, no. Everyone cannot play COD. It's not made for everybody. But that's what they want to do. Yeah, that is bad etiquette. Go. I'm not disagreeing with you. It just made me reminisce about the times where people were just like, dude, it was so bad, in those lobbies back in the day. Dude, I remember being when I used to play Mech Assault. Dude, I used to love that game. I played Mech Assault. That's when I first got live. Oh my gosh, it was brutal in those lobbies. It was crazy. Did I miss Zinc? Otoman says, "Hey Zinc, Stellar Blade is Korean. I think. Oh really? Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. It just hit me as you said that because I did look it up. Yeah, because that's what me and Dr. Vodka been talking about, man. We want Microsoft to have more of a presence in South Korea, and I'm pretty sure they're working on stuff. But you know, and look, dude. I mean, I don't like again, dude. This is us just talking, giving our opinions. I don't know the whole makeup of what everything goes on in the business and all this stuff. That's why I love the AKB thing. We actually got a firsthand, just like the behind the scenes, right? It's like when you buy a movie, right? T, you get the bonus content. Oh, T, by the way, does that Battlestar come with all the bonus content? Does it have like behind the scenes?
I think they do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's a dude, man. I might have to go grab that because that's my girl, man. Boomer. I love the character. What's her name? Grace Kim. Grace Kim was the actress. And then I was bummed, man, because she actually after that was over, I was like, oh, well, I wonder what she's gonna do. I think she did like some small stuff, but then she landed the role in Hawaii Five-O. She played Kona, who was actually a Hawaiian dude on the old show. But they picked her, and then some people was like, oh, but she's not Hawaiian. I was like, I don't care. It's Grace Kim. I said I'm Hawaiian, and I approve this message. So that's what I was telling people online. And she did a good job, but then her and Daniel did Kim. But then the whole thing came up about the money, and then they got let go. That was sad. I really liked their character. Yeah, but again, Gogo, I agree, man. Microsoft. I mean, is it? And I know it's not fair to Microsoft to keep on saying that, right? Because they're doing everything. Basically, they're doing all the heavy lifting. So, I know they can't get everybody, right? And I would actually trust their judgment more because they know what's going on. Yes, it's Korean. Just Google it. Yeah, yeah. I did earlier, just so I could write it somewhere, but I've done. So that's what happens when you get old, bro. Your memory starts to slip. I'm gonna have to drink an energy drink just to finish this podcast. What else we got?
Yeah, I actually gotta go, Sega man.
Yeah, sorry, brother. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you jumped in, bro. Yeah, like I said, like this was impromptu, but anytime if I don't send you a link, just tell me, man. You're more than welcome.
Yeah, no problem. I got treatment at 6 a.m. in the morning, so I gotta get to bed.
Yeah, no worries. It's still early for me, but yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up because I gotta get stuff done. But T, man, we gotta do a COD podcast.
Yeah, that would be fun.
And I want you to kind of I'll put it on, but then you just Can you walk us through it? Because I don't know all the modes and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we can talk about it. And then we got to play again. I'll have some time this week, man, and then we'll do the Minecraft thing too. I'm going to
Yeah,
check my
definitely this week because I'm definitely all open all week long. I have nothing to do.
All right, cool, bro.
I'm probably just gonna be watching Battlestar Galactica all week.
Yeah, dude. I don't, now you got me. I might have to pick that up too because I got the original. So that would be a good addition to the collection. But I don't know, man. I'm a huge Family Matters fan, so that might take. I might have to pull the trigger on that because I've been waiting. They got every season of Family Matters too.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, I'll catch you later, man. Okay.
All right, brother. Take it easy.
Right.
Thanks for dropping in. All right, Toolman55. What's up? Yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, so we'll just shift back a little bit to what we're talking about. Again, this is I'm being sarcastic with the PlayStation tax, right? Because the Xbox tax is real, right? And like Zolby asked earlier, what does the Xbox tax mean? It's just a bias, man. It's just what we've been dealing with for the last 10 years in these gaming spaces, right? And so for PlayStation, man, now that's happening to them, I'm all here for it. I'm gonna do a lot of videos like this, guys. If you guys want to check them out, definitely. Because I mean, they deserve it. If I'm being honest, they've been the worst fan base of any other fan base I've seen in my entire lifetime, ever. Right? You cannot have honest conversations with a pony. Right? You can't talk about anything gaming with a pony. You guys see it on Twitter all the time, where something happens, and they just come in there and just piss all over whatever joy you might have, whatever announcement Microsoft makes. Some people aren't even Xbox guys. They've actually turned. I've seen them turn people on Twitter. Several people on Twitter, and these guys aren't like no names on Twitter. They have a somewhat of an influence and pull when it comes to the stuff they produce. And one of the dudes, I'm not going to drop his name. I'm pretty sure you guys know who he is because I don't want to bring him any heat. But he's a pretty good guy. I've been following him for a while. I mean, I follow a wide variety of people. Zobi is probably the only PlayStation dude I really follow hardcore. And that's because Zobi is old school as well, and he knows what he's talking about. I don't bemoan anything. Like again, I told you guys, I don't care what Sony does. Most of these videos I do it's just a point of principle, especially when they talk about what's going on with Xbox. Okay, so when they start entering our realm, coming onto our podcast and stuff like that. So, but I have no problem personally. Right? Like I was saying earlier, I'll probably buy a PlayStation for my daughter so she can play her game. That's no problem. Right? That's not a problem for me. I mean, I won't play it. But on the flip side, man, it's just they're gonna get this work. Like 100 says, they're gonna get this work. Go. Zobi70, he was in the comments earlier. I'm not sure if Zobi's still on. He might have dropped out. The Zobi70, he's a dude I've been following for a long time. He's in the vein of on Twitter? It's Peter Oval. Peter Oval. I don't think he'll mind. I drop his name. I mean, he's been going nuclear on a lot of stuff, and he's like what I would consider one of those guys I follow that is a gamer in the traditional sense. That's why I like watching his stuff and seeing his perspective. Even if it's like some people might deem it anti-Xbox, it doesn't come from that anti-Xbox side. It's just him talking about gaming. Because you need that. You need to get different perspectives to keep yourself in check as well. And I'm like saying, like with a lot of stuff, even with Xbox guys, even with Xbox guys, I don't agree with 100%. The people in my circle, I would say like 99% of the time, yeah, I do. But then, and other stuff we don't agree on, it's just because that's just preference. And that's natural in any type of relationship you have with anybody else. Zobi on the old school front, but Peter Oval on Twitter. He basically now because what he's doing, man, he got attacked, and it's all because of Starfield. And when you get he's getting like him, and there's the other dude I forgot his name. I can't think of his name right now, but that other guy that got attacked, he's like a hardcore PlayStation fan. I've actually debated him on Twitter and on his videos. Because he does kind of the middle of the road stuff, but he does dip his toe into the Sony thing. And then now, after he was excited about Starfield, because Starfield is a type of game like if you like the wonderment of space exploration, if you like being able to write your own story, to get lost in a narrative and a character, right? That Starfield checks all the boxes, and it even more so if you're like me. I'm old school, so I remember growing up in the NASA age and the space race, at least or at least in the Cold War stuff, right? When this stuff was matter, and then it's something that it is like Star Trek says, it is the last frontier, you know that's unexplored. And so when you play a game like Starfield, like I found like I am of NASA and space exploration and tech and all this kind of stuff, right? You get a game like Starfield and you feel like this could be the next step for mankind. Of course, there's a lot of sci-fi stuff on there. That's futuristic, right? Um, and the stuff is a game, so some of the planets they try and be as realistic as possible, but you can't be totally realistic. This is why it's called science fiction, not science fact. But a lot of it is based on science fact, and you feel that. So you get a good combination. When you play a game like Starfield, you get the best of both worlds, in my opinion. Right? Like my daughter, she played it. She thought it was good, but she went back to playing Fallout. So, and Fallout is a great game too. So that's why I said in my previous videos about how it amazes me how Starfield or Bethesda has like cornered the market on some of the most major genres that people in pop culture like that occupy, right? Like if you like superhero, like if you watch The Flash, or maybe you're like into science sci-fi and then you like Doctor Who, or then you're into fantasy and you watch Lord of the Rings, stuff like that. Oh, I have followed him. Yeah, is that Peter? Yeah, Peter is it's just that because his posting has changed, and I don't blame him, dude. He was getting unnecessary hate because he's not like that. It's funny to me because I don't get as much hate as some of these people, and I'm the nut job Xbox guy. Hey, Toman says, "What's up, Global?" Yeah, we'll run this for a little bit more, guys. If you have anything in the comments you wanted to say about the PlayStation tax thing, which is basically me talking about Sony going bankrupt and also Sony getting sued by the CMA of all people, man. Like I said, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. If they can do that to Microsoft, they can definitely do to Sony. If the government can come after Xbox guys and what they like, they can definitely come after Sony guys and what they like. And like I said earlier in the podcast, Sony has a lot of skeletons in their closet. So it's not surprised to see this the it's not surprising to see the CMA turn towards them. Because like I said before, guys, the whole purpose of the government, especially under I'm talking about the FTC and our current administration, and what you can see is Great Britain. And look, I don't want to speak on Britain too much because I know they have a different way of running things and stuff like that. So I'll just stick with the FTC. What it is about big tech versus uh, big government is what it is, and there can only be one. Just like Highlander, right? It's about power, money, and control. It has nothing to do with the consumers. If it was all about the consumers, the case would have been dropped a long time ago. Because a lot of people knew that like Activision King Blizzard was in some sort of way. Their employees were hurting. And then if you put in the Game Pass, there's more access for more people at a cheaper price, which is what the FTC is supposed to be looking at, protecting the consumer. But what you saw them protecting was trying to protect Sony. But the only reason they teamed up with Sony is because they wanted to bring Microsoft down. They want to show that they can control these big tech oligarchs because tech has a big influence, and they know this from the election because it had a sway on what people saw. The information that they it was so funny because government and tech worked together in our last elections, and it's funny because they both saw that in each other. So naturally, it's basically like Loki and Doctor Doom. I say this all the time. They teaming up, and they both know that there can only be one. One of them wants to be in control. It's a game specifically designed to lose yourself in, as well as Bethesda respects gamers. They are far from pretentious and have a good sense of what people want. Yeah, exactly. I can really respect the fact that they're open to suggestions, but they stick true to their vision. And what it is like they want you to come along on the journey with them, and they welcome you with open arms. They take what you say into consideration, but ultimately, this is what they've designed for you to experience. And again, if you don't like the experience, they don't tell you to yeah, we'll beat it, get lost. We don't like you, like some of these people are doing now in business, right? But they're saying like, well, okay, well, that's and then they continue on. But that's why they have all these other stuff to provide to you. Yeah, not everybody's gonna like Starfield, dude. I'm not. You Skyrim taught me that, dude. Skyrim is such a huge game. It's just that it has a dedicated fan base. But that's what Microsoft wants, and I think it bodes well for Game Pass. This is why I don't buy into all the gloom and doom of Game Pass because of Starfield. Starfield's not like you saw what happened with the tweet that went out this week. People were saying that I think it's Game Rant Don't quote me on this, but it's one of those, it's one of those media publications in the gaming space that was saying that Starfield's in trouble because it's not putting up numbers. And then people did on Twitter, which I like, they did the community notes, and somebody wrote, Starfield is a single player game. It's not made to be an online service game, and corrected that article. And of course, does the gaming media come back and retract or issue a defense, or what they should do, actually, an apology because they're wrong? Do they do that? No. They just keep on moving on. This is why nobody trusts media at all, because they do crap like that. They do what average people do, but since they're the media, they should be held to a higher standard, especially since they are supposed to be the fourth estate. Looking out for the common man. Yes, Tanner is a good steward for what they want to make. Yeah, and you can tell, dude. I mean, it's his actual his actual heart and soul is in Starfield. You can tell. I can look at the game and say that Todd Howard is a guy, and I know he's older than us. That actually probably love NASA and space exploration. Probably watches stuff, all of that stuff. It shows in the product that they made. Like how they talked about NASA Punk. I'm so glad they went with that look because it grounds the game, so you don't get too far afield. Though there is some fantastical stuff, with the powers and everything like that. Right? They try and give you the best of both worlds, but they keep it true to their vision and they try and keep it as grounded as possible. Yeah. But yeah, that's why I just want to get that off my chest, guys. Hopefully, we'll get more information on the situation with Sony in general. And again, if it develops even more, I'll do a video talking about it because it'd be newsworthy just on a gaming perspective, but it'll also be something that we can utilize, right, as weaponry in the console war. I know a lot of people don't like that, but that's just me being honest. It's not going to go away until Microsoft, like we were talking about earlier with T Reaper. And thank you, T, for coming on board. But it's like if Microsoft gets that the nuke in Call of Duty, and then utilize it and ends the match. And I'm not opposed to them doing that. Still hear people talking about, well, we need competition. I think Microsoft is, again, just reiterate this, Microsoft is competition unto themselves. So the fact that they're a big business that needs to produce, there's enough competition, in my opinion. Because look, guys, like with all this stuff going on with Sony again, dude, they're just holding us back. That's all they're doing. They're holding gaming back. Right? They have an outdated profit model with their console sales, right? They're still trying to buy out companies and stuff like that or work out deals with them, right? Which hurts everybody, and which forced Microsoft to do what they're doing, right? So for those of you guys who would like to have a game on your console, right? This is why you can't, because Sony basically started the practice, and they did this for the longest time. They actually used their power and influence back then. I remember this because I was a Sega guy, and there's a lot of people like Working Designs, Treasure. I mean, they had issues with Sega, but that was the nail in the coffin. And then also EA, when EA got the license for football, right? They set a standard in the industry. Sony of old. So I have no sympathy for whatever happens to them because they set that standard. They do it a lot. They do that a lot in the gaming industry, and this is why gaming is the way it is. So if you remove them, I think it's a plus 10 for gaming. You remove them out of there because the developers are still the developers. They'll go where they need to go. And I don't think it's just going to be an Xbox-centric world. Nintendo will have to step up, and you don't know what other company will get involved. I think once that happens, you might see Apple become a little bit more serious, and some of these other companies become a little bit more serious, because then that puts Microsoft and Xbox in the crosshair, especially if they start making money hand over fist. The way the economics work and supply and demand. Look, I'm not a Zing, but I know this much, man. Where there's a need, you can fill it. It'll get filled. Atari went out of business years ago. Sega, to my dismay, left the industry, the hardware industry, and the industry moved on. Sony is no different. Kobo, I like you casually talk about it. Yeah, really? Thanks, Kobo. Some people don't like that. I'm glad that you do, man. I appreciate that, dude. Yeah, I'm all over the place when I do this stuff. I just got to be myself. That's why our cast runs so long. But in fairness to the cast running long, I would rather it run long so that I can hear what people are saying. Like Dea yesterday, man. Dea was on fire, dude. It amazes me how much stuff Dea knows. And not that I didn't think she knew a lot of stuff. It's just very rare to find somebody that likes a lot of different things, um, like I do, or like you do, Gogo. I can tell by just talking to you that you do the same way. Like Dea, to me, like I just knew her as the PC gamer in the group. And then as she talked, right, you can tell, okay, yeah, she's legit. She's a gamer across through and through. But then she can talk about comics, and she can talk about movies, and she can talk about, she's like how E-Rock can, and Hebot. A lot of us can, but I mean on that level, because you can tell we consume it. So yeah, it's always great to have her on there, dude. And then some of the other guys. But let me know, bro. The invitation is open if you want to jump on here anytime. Sony is panicking, it seems. Yeah, yeah, they're in disarray, most definitely, and that's me being nice. There's a reason that bankrupting thing came out because Sony doesn't normally get press like that, dude. Nobody even would think about doing it. Again, to draw a correlation to the Marvels, right? We knew, like, if you watch Marvel movies or kept up with Marvel or a fan like I am, you know that they were having problems for the longest time. It just didn't happen with the Marvels. It's been happening over the last several years, basically since Phase 4, right? They've been having all these issues. And then everybody was just sweeping it under the rug. It's just like somebody in your family that's an alcoholic, and you just ignore it, right, until he slams his car into a tree, or unfortunately kills somebody, right, and then it becomes a real issue, and everybody's like, okay, now we got to deal with this. This is what Marvel is going through right now, and this is something that the Sony guys will deal with, right? Will have to deal with, right? Because if this thing kicks off like it looks like it's going to kick off, man, there's going to be biblical, man. There'll be wailing and gnashing of teeth on a biblical scale. That's how bad it's going to be, because these people just don't see it coming. All they focus on is Xbox and how Xbox sucks and how Microsoft is evil, right? And how gaming can't survive without Sony. I am willing to roll that dice. I would really want to see that, and I'm just not saying that from a hateful perspective, from an analytical perspective. I like watching things. Like, I like to see the dots being connected and things falling through, and seeing the patterns develop. It would be interesting to me. It's not just because I hate Sony, which I do, but and I want them to fail, which I do. It would also be interesting to see how that collapse goes. I'm not saying I'm like Nero with the fiddle, but I mean I'm kind of close. They look rudderless, kind of sad actually. Yeah, yeah. If they weren't so hateful and their people were so evil, I probably might feel some sympathy for them. But I understand what you're saying. It's just not them. It's just like, like when you have like, like how what people are going with Tom Brady, right? He was so perfect, right? And then his age started couple, or when Michael Jordan tried to come back when he was with Washington, right? It's just the reality sets in, right? People don't like to see that, dude. It's hard to watch. It's well, at least hard to watch if you're a person like all these Sony guys support their thing. Did the MCU lose the Russo brothers? It seems they're done with it. Oh yeah, all those guys have moved on, right? And it's really shown like how how weak Kevin Feige is. A lot of people who heap praise upon him. I did for specific things because I remember him from Fox when X Men was kicking off and some of the stuff he did there. So I give him his just deserved dues. But once a lot of these guys left, it really showed. He's not a creative. He's not. He knows the material though. I know some of the guys I follow are like, this dude is a fraud. I'm like, no, he knows the material. I've seen him in interviews talk about it. Right. But he's also on the Hollywood side, and he's a producer. Right. But it's just like these guys want to be creatives as well. I was like, no, dude, that's not what you're here for. Bob Iger, you're not here to. You're just here to pay the money, bro. Just give them the money. This is why Satya. Everybody loves Satya. Satya sees the direction. He believes specific things, right? Like when he talks about competing, when Xbox was trying to buy AKB, that's well within his wheelhouse, right? Because he sees the bigger picture. But guess who he relies on when it comes to Xbox? He relies on Phil, right? And then even with the hardware, there's people that he goes to because that's the subject matter experts. What you have at Disney Marvel, right? You have somebody like Bob Iger who thinks he's a creative. Right? This dude wanted to run for president. I'm glad we dodged that bullet because you look at how he's running his company, would have been in deep kimchi. Well, we're out here in deep kimchi. There's no upside either way, but I'm just saying, right? You can just see what's going on with Disney Marvel. Dude, I mean, he was hailed as a genius because he could sign the checks, right? And then George Lucas. Dude, he made George Lucas like people like George Lucas again. That's how bad Bob Iger is. Because George Lucas was like sending warning signals to these guys, right? When he was talking about it, because he sold, but he sold. In fairness, he sold his property to them, and they took control of it, right? But then George Lucas was giving off warning signals in his interviews, right? Little warnings about Disney, Marvel, and a lot of the stuff that people were worried about with Disney, Marvel, wasn't actually what we should have been worried. Like the whole greedy corporation thing. That was that. I would actually take that now. I would actually take that now because if they were greedy, they would actually course correct because the money is not happening. They're not making the money, and then they're on. And they're everybody's talking about bankruptcy with them because they can't keep this up, dude. You can't be making subpar products. They have a strong brand name like Sony. It's yeah, like I said, it's a tale of two cities, dude. I mean, or it's a tale of it's two sides of the same coin. These dudes they have brand recognition. They were dominating. They find themselves invincible, and now all of a sudden, the emperor has no clothes for both of them, both Disney, Marvel, and Sony, both companies. You're seeing it happen in real time. Disney Marvel is definitely way more ahead of Sony, but I'm waiting for that next shoe to fall. And that's what I talked about the other podcast, a couple podcasts ago, right? I was talking about, dude, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop because I don't believe that. Was it like was it last month I talked about that? And I've never believed their console sale numbers. Never, ever. Because to me, that would worry me. If I actually sold that many consoles, but I only sold this many games, that wouldn't sit well with me. Sorry, guys. Excuse me. That doesn't make any sense. I want you to know. The Game Awards will be interesting. I think it'll be a quiet show. I don't think MS will be in it much. Yeah, yeah. Again, would not surprise me. I will not be watching it. I know that much. I will probably know things right away as much as anybody else because all I have to do is look at Twitter when it's going on and stuff will be shown. There's really no reason. If you're an Xbox guy, there's really no reason to watch the Game Awards. None of our games are nominated for Game of the Year, again, which I don't care. Right? Like trailers I can watch later. That award show is just so boring. Award shows in general now. Like the Eternals director, she's good, but is she coming back? I like that movie for what it was. No, 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 she's not. I think a lot of these guys, it would have been interesting. I think they hired her for specific reasons, but her vision wasn't fully realized. Again, you have a lot of these people at Marvel making creative decisions. Why would they even hire her if they were going to do the creative decisions? Basically, you have a bunch of people that want to be that way but don't have the skill or the talent. And they're the ones making the decisions, and that's hurting the brand. That's why I'm saying that Kevin Feige needs to be gone. They need to fire him. But they won't. Dude, Kathleen Kennedy is still there. She should have been fired years ago. She is horrible. She has no idea what she's doing. And then when you listen to her in interviews, she wants to be that person. She wants to be George Lucas, but unfortunately, she doesn't have she's never created anything, dude. She's always worked with people that created stuff. That's her problem. She thinks she can do stuff, but she can't. Right? And then she does the worst thing, right? Because she can't come up with her own ideas, she gloms onto stuff. Right? And this is why they hold the forces female thing. That's why she went with that. Right? But she wants females to have representation. Unfortunately, she can't write females, which is pretty sad, but she's a woman. That what blows my mind. I'm like watching this going, dude, okay, come on, man. Nobody is that perfect. When they make their characters, there's nobody that's that perfect. And let's be perfectly honest, women don't work that way. They don't get along with each other, not all of them. They have friends and stuff like that, but man, some of the most vicious people growing up in life that I've ever come across, vindictive, hateful, holding grudges, man, is all women. And I'm just being 100% honest. And I don't deal with that, dude. I just step away. I'm like, I'm out. I'm gone. Let them do their thing. Did he really? Iger for president must have an ego. Well, he wanted to. Especially when he was looking, he does have an ego because he was looking at the country. It was like 2016. We had the 2016 elections, and then it was like 2019. Right when the next one was rolling around, he thought himself like because of people was heaping praise upon him, and it sounded like it was a childhood dream for him to be president, and that's strike number one for me. He actually wants to be president. I'm like, okay, no, no. That's a Freudian. That was a Freudian moment to me. I'm like, yeah, dude, no. Dude, one of the best quotes or one of the best things I heard about George Washington was that when they asked him to be president, he's like, his quote was like, "Haven't I done enough for this country?" He's like, "Dude, I don't want to." That wasn't his thing. But they said it would be if they told him if he didn't do it, the country would fall apart because it's a fledgling country and they needed stability, and that's the only reason why he did it. And people looked up to him. That's the type of person you want. Dude, it's just like Captain America, man. Captain America, the first Avenger. That's what was so great about that movie, right? When the scientist asked him, because the scientist had an accent, I forgot his name, Erskine. When they asked Erskine, and then Erskine was like, "Oh, you don't. So you want to kill Nazis?" Is what he says to Captain America. So you want to kill Nazis, and Captain America says, "I don't want to kill anybody. I just don't like bullies." That's what made Steve Rogers who he really was. So of course that the reason the scientists picked him, as we find out in the movie later on, is because he's a good person. So when he takes the serum, that it'll just amplify that. Whereas the other guys they wanted to pick, they were already pricks. So you give them superpowers, and then you get the dudes from what's that Invincible. You get that dude, the dad, and you get the other guy from the boys. Which is ironic because they're made that way to kind of counterpoint to how the way Superman's built. Dude, if you guys haven't watched My Hero Academia, if you guys ever get a chance to watch that anime, it's awesome. If you want to look at how classic superhero stuff is, it's really cool because in the series, these people are heroes, but they have what they call quirks, right? So they don't get bit by a radioactive spider and can have that type of abilities and all this kind of stuff, like how our heroes are, right? On a mythological scale. These guys are more like when I watch the anime, they have people with really cool abilities, and it's cool how they have to train and learn how to use them. But a lot of them and how the abilities can transform. But the thing that they remind me of the Morlocks from the X Men, right? Like the X Men are the people that can hide their presence. Like even though Angel has wings, he has a way to hide his wings so they look normal, so he doesn't draw attention to themselves, so they can function. And then you have the Morlocks, which are just so either their abilities are so out of whack, or they look so hideous that they not hideous. That's what it is. But they stand out, right? Their looks because of their powers or their mutants and stuff like that. They didn't get the genetic lottery, um, basically. And it was funny because in the comic books they played that up, right? Like they're all mutants. The X Men are mutants, and then there was resentment, man. If you guys remember, dude, the Morlocks actually resented the X Men in some cases. And then it was Callisto who formed a relationship with the X Men, and I think she was with Storm somehow. I can't remember, man. I'm so old, but it was a really great dynamic in the Uncanny X Men comics. Yeah, she's in her own world, dude. The one thing I love about her though is she is. I thought it was more for the ideologue thing and the girl power stuff that was drawing her thing. But as I've seen her impressive, it's actually a power and control thing. She's basically like an old school um, studio head from back in the day that wants to maintain control power. So I think she uses. She's one of the people I look at that she uses it as a weapon to remain dominant. Right? Because the way I understand it, so the way she came up, she was underneath Steven Spielberg and uh, and George Lucas, and stuff about getting donuts and coffee was brought up. I'll just leave it at that. Dude, I don't want to dive too deep into that. But she came up the hard way, man. And sometimes when you come up that way, you can't let stuff go. And I think that deals with a lot of the issues she's having right now. And the simple fact that she can't create stuff, right? It's just like me. I had this idea that I wanted to do comic books. I love some comic books so much. Unfortunately, I can't draw, and I found that out the hard way, right? Because I actually ordered a book and tried to learn how to draw, and I couldn't see in dimensions, and my perspective was askew, which is what you need. So then when I see my kids, like especially my daughter, I watch her do art, I'm just jealous, but I'm happy because that's something I always wanted to do, and I can't. So I immerse myself into the culture, right? This is what you do when you can't make anything. You're not creative. You immerse yourself into the culture, then you get into stupid arguments online with other people, and that's Kathleen Kennedy in a nutshell. Morlocks in the tunnels. I remember. Yeah, dude, that was a cool run. I have to go back and read some of those old comic books. My uncle sold my comics, so I don't have them anymore. I mean, not yeah, not you just they were moving. So, and I was in the Navy. Yeah, she is old school, demands respect. Yeah, dude. At first I thought she was an ideologue, man, but when I look at her, it's like no, she's old. She's old school studio system. Yeah, and she won't go out without a fight. And it's my understanding that John Favreau has left. He's not going to touch Star Wars anymore. And then they put Dave Filoni in charge. I think that was a desperation move. It was basically like a shield for Kathleen Kennedy, because a lot of people like Dave Filoni. But after that Ahsoka show, I don't know. I think his credibility is getting downgraded with the fandom. Yeah, she worked a lot with Spielberg and Lucas. She did a good job producing for them, but it wasn't creative, more about getting things. Yeah, and that's how it is, bro. That's the problem with people in society nowadays, dude. You just gotta accept. Sometimes you just gotta accept that you can't do what you want to do. You know, the whole forces female angle and stuff like that. The problem with that is, they said that's because of representation. There's no problem with representation. The problem is you still got to make good product. You got to make it. You got to make the characters interesting, and in order to do that, the characters have to be flawed because you have to identify them with someone or another. You know what I'm saying? So when you don't do that, people can't latch onto the character. And if you do see yourself in that character, you might need to go get some help. I'm just saying, right? Because you might be that person. because it just they're just not able to produce good stories. They're not able to do any world building of any substance. Um, they can't create any type of mythology at all moving forward, right? Because they want to make their own worlds within Star Wars. But the stuff that they're trying to build is antithetical to what Star Wars actually stands for, right? If you asked her, most people will say that uh, Star Wars is basically like some people say it's like a western. It promotes to the George Lucas has talked about the samurai with the Jedi and stuff like that. But at its core, right, it's a science fiction, basically like space opera. I hear a lot of people talk about that, right? Because of the focus on the characters and the relationships. Yeah, it's sad that they're ruining a good thing. Star Wars and Marvel under one umbrella should be godsend, but it's making it worse. Yeah, it started off good. Well, I don't know about not really Star Wars, but it started off decent, and then I don't know, dude. It just needs to die. I think once it dies, and then they lose like soul. Well, I don't know. They've lost so much money already. I mean, I hate to say it, they might have to go bankrupt, bro. They might have to go bankrupt for it to reset to do the Phoenix thing. You know what I'm saying? So, dang, bro, what's up, bro? Dude, we're just doing a podcast, man. It's right now. It's just me and Gogo. Had T on here earlier, but yeah, dude. Dude, are you on Xbox? I can't remember. Let me know, dude. You see my gamer tag, dude? Hit me up if you want to play. Man, Jay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sporadic with this, dude. No, but are you? I can't remember, bro. Yeah, Gogo says, "What's up?" Yeah, but it's been 2 hours, guys. I want to wrap it up. Plus, my kids down here waiting. I probably want to watch TV and stuff. But yeah, dude. Wait, Gogo says Andor is really good though. Yeah, I don't know, dude. After what I heard about Ahsoka, I'm just, you know what it is, dude. There's just like so many other things I'm into right now that um Star Wars right now is just not. I had planned to watch Andor, but it's just disappointing to me, like for me to invest my time in this stuff, and then Star Wars still going in the direction that they're doing. In fact, I'm gonna cancel my Disney Plus because there's no sense in me. I don't really watch it anymore. And maybe one day when they turn around, I might come back, but I doubt it, dude. I don't see any. I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel, bro. Yeah, dude. You know how we do it, man. We're not like these other dudes who fell off on the side, Jay. Man, we still represent, and it'll always be that way. I will say though, this is my last hurrah, dude. If Xbox something happens where it's not around anymore, I'm out, bro. I'm done with gaming. And that's not a bitterness. It's just I've lived a full gaming life, so I'm good. I get it. It's an investment you don't want to pull into. Yeah, dude. That's what happened with me again. Like we were talking about sci-fi. Warehouse 13 for me was the last straw. I really liked that show. Then they did that one. Was it Room 306? I forgot the name of that. Room. I want to say Room 306. That was a great sci-fi show that they had. It was a movie, and it was awesome. And I was hoping they would build off of that. They never did. And then they had that one with the girl that was in with the lady, the actress that was in Stargate, Commander. The female, and she had her own show on there, which I liked. And then that died off. In fact, they brought some of the characters from Starfield over with her, and I really liked that show. She was a she they maintained this. I want to say it's like a museum or something, and they actually went in. Was it the missing links? Right, there was missing links in the world, and that was the whole premise of the show, that there was these missing links, and that they would go and investigate the missing links. And they would, and then of course, there's a lot of urban legends and stuff like that off the missing links, and they would create stories around that, which I thought was cool. I was really impressed with that show, and that's another one they canned. And then Warehouse 13 was cool because it was a place where they had all the inventory of incredible and fantastical stuff, and then they would build stories into that. And I loved the cast. That was one of the best casted science fiction shows I ever watched. If Xbox fails, it's because the market sucks to offer. MS is giving when Xbox is really to get past it. Yeah, it's pretty funny, Goal, that you brought that up, because I see it as a double-edged sword with the economy right now, because people are so hurting for money that when anytime anybody brings up canceling subscription services, that is just $9 a month, right? It's just because they're looking for extra scratch, dude. That's just the bottom line, because everything's just so expensive, right? And when the economy is like this, which is sad. That's why I hate the media, because they should be covering this more. And it's not for a gloom and doom thing, because a lot of people already feel it, right? But they should get the proper perspective on what's going on, so that people can make changes. But that's why the media doesn't cover it, because they understand that if people realize, if they start trumpeting for the people how bad it is, then people will look at it a little more clearly. And then of course the whole talk about what can we do to change it, and they don't want it to change, and it's all political. I'm not gonna lie. It's my channel, dude. I don't lie. I don't hold anything back, dude. I'm 100% on this channel. But in economies like this is where people don't realize that you won't, like you won't, game has a big influence on our culture right now. But people won't die if you don't play a video game. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we're at right now. People are actually having um, having to decide on whether to hold off on paying their electric bill so they can buy food for their family, right? All it takes is for somebody in their family that's a breadwinner, and it's like even a dual income family, right? For one of them to get sick, or one of them to get laid off, right? But trust me, man, I grew up under these stuff, man. My grandmother was the sole winner for us, and when things got bad, man, it was hard, dude. I remember those days. I never want to go back to that. And then you have a lot of pseudo people who feel like they live in a sucky country that sucks, and having no idea how other people all over the world is suffering. I mean, there's some things going on in this country that could definitely be improved, but the level of entitlement, man, amongst people nowadays just blows my mind. You see it in gaming all the time, man, when people talk about like, you know, how sucky Xbox and corporate and all this kind of stuff, dude. And right now you have a perfect deal. Microsoft backwards compatibility, something we've talked about in the game as gamers for years, for decades. Yeah, Xbox brought that into fruition, right? The Game Pass, trying to make it better for both gamers and developers, so that we can connect, man. So that we can at a base level, because we have an early Xbox, like that's what they talk about when they talk about easy entry point, right? Is the money, right? So they'll cover that part, right, and spread it out amongst everybody, so that how everybody can benefit, right? Both developer and gamer. We get to play great games. These guys get to get paid and keep their jobs, especially on the indie side. Right? And then when you have people just blowing this stuff off, I'm like, dude, you guys, you've never. To me, I'm dating myself, dude. It's just like, dude, you've never had it hard, bro. That's just the way I am. That's what I think. I know I'm a dinosaur, but it is what it is. Thing is, people still find enough money to overspend on phones and other subscriptions. It's just a matter of how much gaming matters. MS might be too early again. Oh my God. Yeah, but the great thing about it, dude, like Sega back in the day, had that problem, but well, I will say that, but Microsoft they're rich, dude. They're like Bruce Wayne. Like when Bruce Wayne said that in Justice League, he said that to the Flash. Like, what's your superpower? Bruce Wayne, like, I'm rich. That's all he needed to say, because somebody got to foot the bills. Somebody got to pay for the watchtower. You know what I'm saying? That stuff ain't cheap. And he got more than just the money, dude. He has the R&D. He has everything. It's just like, a lot of people compare Iron Man and Bruce, Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne, and that's a great comparison. Right? I would even throw Warren Worthington, the Angel from X-Men. Not too many superhero teams can have a Blackbird as their mode of transportation. That's how they had it. That's how they rolled under the basketball court. That was genius. No, you're right about this, and that's what it is, right? It's people finding the money to spend on what they really want, right? So it comes down to that, and that funnels down through everything. Like again, that's why I use the example of somebody that, okay, I'll just hold off on paying the electric because that's I can go another week without paying that. Don't cut off the electric. Maybe I gotta call the electric company, but I need food now because me and my kids are hungry. And then I'm like, okay, I'll get another job, maybe do some Uber deliveries. Dude, there's people hustling, man. It's amazing to watch, dude. It takes me back to my day when I was younger. And we hustle for everything, dude. Working that day to get that extra dollar, doing scrub crew at night. That was a tough job, but you got time and a half, right? So that paycheck would be nice and big. That's the struggle, man. MS will give it at least a decade. They're down for it. Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. Because it's something that's specifically theirs, which I really like. It's something that they've created, and something that they see results with, and they're 100% behind it. And that's the scary thing about it. And I say scary not for somebody like me who's on the Microsoft side or the Xbox side, but if you're against Microsoft and Xbox, that's a scary thing to see. How Microsoft is so dedicated to this, and it's a game changer. That's for sure. They even talked about it in the documentary. It's static, man. It's going to shake up the industry, and it has. And all I see for it is upside. I've seen some of the developers come into Game Pass and not do so well, um, or at least complain about it, which is their right to, right? If it didn't work out for them the way that they thought they would, and that's something that it's just the little things like that not little things, but it's the things like that Microsoft. I don't want to put it off as not important, because it is important to the ecosystem as a whole. But that's just something Microsoft has to work with. Like for me, there's like just so many games I can't keep up with all of them, right? And then they have their algorithm that suggests stuff to me because of the stuff I'm playing and whatever. So for my part, I try to be more active in the ecosystem that is Microsoft as far as the store and all that kind of stuff. Take time into their surveys and do all that kind of stuff so that I can build up at least a history with them because I don't want to miss out on any games. Because it's getting harder, dude. We're getting older and we can't do the same things we used to do. A lot of us rely on Hebot in our group because Hebot's the one that goes out there. Because then him and his sons, man, they're doing the yeoman's work, man. They doing that hard work, the heavy lifting for us. And he's the one that comes. Some of the games I bought is because Hebot either did a video on it or told us directly about it. Like I didn't know anything about Fist, and then I played that game. That game is amazing, dude. I think I bought it early. It's that good. I loved it that much. It was awesome. So that was from Hebot. So. But he bought busy sometimes too, right? So I don't know. Microsoft, I don't know how they're gonna do that, bro. If they can find a way, maybe that's what they're gonna do with AI, right? You see them pushing on AI, and a lot of people are talking about the negatives of AI, which I think you have to be cognizant of it. I'm not dismissing those things, right? I think the Skynet thing, nothing's off the table, right? But on what when you look at what Microsoft does business and how they do business, because you see them pushing stuff to us all the time, which I participate sometimes if I want to, but not all the time. Giving, but I just look at it as options. And so what they do with the AI is I think they're going to use that to build a better, like a better storefront or try to make the storefront better, Game Pass better, on the back end, that kind of stuff. Now, when they start doing stuff going into the gaming, then we got to keep our eyes out. But I see upside because I see so much stuff with Starfield over time that can change, and some of that stuff I think they could use AI to implement it. As far as the story, as far as the characters, I gave an example like that. Dea talked about it on the show where she talked about the picture that the girl draws. If you play Starfield, you know what I'm talking about. There's a picture, and then what happens is it gets picked up by a movement, and it gets circulated throughout the galaxy. So when you visit certain planets and certain establishments and stuff like that, you'll see that girl's picture on the wall. Because there's a lot of history behind Starfield. Starfield could be its own TV show. That's how deep some of that the writing that they've done for that game. But yeah, they want it to be a tool for board building narrative. It can help a lot. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Like a consistency, like giving I use the example of what could happen is if you go and you interact with a colony of people, and then because of your interactions, that could set the colony into like 5 to 6 different directions, right? And when I play my game, maybe I go back to the colony, and because of stuff that I did there, or how I helped them out, or maybe I sold something there, or did something for them, right? That pushed them on a different path where they actually became um, more self-sufficient and actually got better with their technology, depending on what I do, and they actually grew from that. Then there could be another thing where I did something, and it could have negative effects, right? One of the criticisms about the Marvels that was levied against the movie was that Captain Marvel actually did something that affected the Kree homeworld of Hala, but you don't see that at all in any movie or in any TV show. They just plop it right into the movie that they have now. So you're expected to kind of think about it. Um, so some people complained about that, but at least in a video game where it's a lot more raw, like you're actually organic, you're actually experiencing it, going through those different scenarios. So when I do a podcast and we start talking about it, I was like, yeah, dude, I went back to the colony, man, and they actually got worse. And then you can say, oh, really? I went back to the same colony in my game, and they actually like advanced. In fact, I was able to get this item that I needed because their technology got better, and I didn't have to go to the other end of the universe. I just got it from them. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Like stuff continues, and I know it's like that in the game, but on that grandeur scale, right? Like these things will continue, and 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 move on a more broader, wider range of storylines or story arcs or character development stuff like that. So when you go, you'll have more than just one storyline. That's what I like about Starfield. It's very rare that some things get duplicated, but I played it enough to I've seen some duplication, which can't be helped, right? But what they've done is amazing. Now imagine if it can take AI and expand that by 1,000. That would be amazing. But yeah, man. Hey, go, bro. Good talk, dude. I'm gonna have to wrap it up. It's been over 2 hours. But I appreciate you being here, man. Zobi, thanks for stopping by, brother. You as well. Jay, it's always good to see you, bro. I know it's been a while, man. But Jay, dude, if you play, let me know. Gogo, if you play, man, you have my gamer tag, dude. Here, I'll put my gamer tag again. I've been hanging with T. We've been playing COD. If you guys want to play COD, I actually want to start playing Redfall with people. I wanted to get back in the game, but what I want to do is I want to play it with people to get the full effect of it. Because my character that I have, she's pretty leveled up. I went with the psychic chick, and so she's at that level where I can unlock stuff that helps out the group. You know what I mean? I can totally see it help me structurally and be good for brainstorming. Yeah, yeah, save them some time, you mean some money, right? Because you got the AI doing the heavy lifting or the redundancy, or not so much the heavy lifting, but the redundant stuff, right? Look how they rely on procedurally generated stuff. But maybe now it can vary it because you have the AI thinking in the background. So when you go to certain planets, right, you see a more wide array of planetary systems and flora and fauna, which is one of the big things of the game. Which is one of the things I love about the game, actually. Yeah, so that's my gamer tag, guys. Look me up on Xbox. Just friend me. And right now I'm playing Warhammer 40k Dark Tide. I'm into COD. I want to get back on Starfield. I still got to play the Yakuza series. Um, I'm up for Sea of Thieves, but I just need people that are good at it. Grounded as well. I wanted to get back into some of these other games. But whatever you guys play, dude. But I want to admit this: the only game I'm not good at is Gears of War. That's probably why Sega Man and Zinc don't invite me because I talked about I'm not really good. I'm not good at cover shooters, guys, or third person stuff. I mean, I can play them, but I like looking down the barrel myself. That perspective. Yeah, Global. Thanks again, man. Thanks for being here. You too, Tool Man, bro. Yeah, appreciate it, man. You know how we do, man. We do pop culture stuff on this channel. Yeah, me too, man. Dude, I wanted to play that Party Animals. That game looks fun, dude. I see other people playing it all, and I'm like, dang, that game is fun. I still haven't touched that. That's the problem on the Xbox side, dude. Yeah, I'm just not good at the cover based thing, dude. Like even when I play certain games, that's why I was on the tank. I like to just rush in. Like right now on Warhammer, I love my favorite character is the Zealot. Number one because of the way she talks. Some of the stuff she says is real off. In fact, one time I was telling my daughter this. I was playing a game where I was the Zealot, and she was just going off on the other teammates, and I'm talking like heretic. She was like, "You're a heretic, and you did that." Just basically becoming like the Warhammer carry. Just that, dude. It was like so bad. One of the dudes in the game, he stopped his character and he turned around and looked at my character, like looking at me, and I was like, bro, I don't write the script. just, I only use my vanishing skill so I could just run away. I was like, dude, that was pretty bad. What she was saying. I was like, yeah, but that's why I love the game. So. Yeah, guys. All right. Xbox All In channel, host Sega Forever. Thank you guys for dropping in. We'll keep our eyes out, man. You'll see me on social media. You can follow me on Twitter at Sega Forever as well. We're gonna keep our eye on other stuff going on with Sony, dude. Because I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be early Christmas, I think, for some of us. I know that sounds hateful, guys, but I can't help it, dude. When you've been dealing with ponies as long as I have, dude, and they went Super Saiyan in this generation, in this console generation, bro. I mean, they are bad. They are super bad. So I want to enjoy every minute, or every minute of it. Yeah, yeah, that's her, bro. That's her. Though I made mine look like the classical, because I love all the Latin Crusader type influence in Warhammer universe. So I actually made her more into like looking like a Monica Bellucci as best as I can. The actress, that classical, beautiful Italian beauty. A little touch of grease in there, but definitely in the eyes. I tried to shape her the way I wanted to, because actually that's why I played it too. Because I was actually gonna give her a Korean name because I saw her in the thing. But then when I was doing it, I was like, like she fits more like a nun character in a sense. More like the nun from Blues Brothers, if you ever seen that movie, the one they called the Fat Penguin. That was funny. I love that scene. I'll just watch that scene on repeat all the time. When they go back to help the orphanage they grew up in, and it's a Catholic Catholic church, and it was a Catholic orphanage. And then they had to go talk to the nun, and the nun they made the nun mad because they were swearing, and she's like hitting them with the ruler. That's basically my character in the game. Yeah, she has awesome dialogue. A little bit heavy on the whole. Yeah, she definitely on the hardcore side of the um of the heretic hating heretics. But it's good. They play well off of each other. It's actually one thing I like about the game. It's done in short doses too, right? It doesn't take away from the game, but it actually adds a little bit of spice to it, which I like. Yeah, dude. It's like I got the whole Crusader and the whole thing. I mean, it's funny because I'm actually studying the lore a little bit more. I'm very not deep into it, man, but I'm definitely intrigued. I'm getting into the nitty gritty of the legions, which is amazing to me. Like, there's a lot of drama just built within, because there's a lot of, like you're fighting like the mutants and stuff like what they call heretics and stuff. So that's the animated stuff, but there's so many stuff going on within the Imperium, right? That's the dynamic, dude. Again, I should buy the game for Kevin Feige and send it to him. Say, hey, this is just watch these cutscenes, bro, and help you guys out a little bit. Why Marvel is not in the cosmic aspect of the Infinity stuff is beyond me. It just blows my mind that I have not seen anything linked to Galactus. If you snap out of existence half the known universe, people are going to come knocking on your door. That's the reality of it. That's how big the Marvel cosmic universe is. Right? Galactus should have showed up at somebody's doorstep at this point. But then again, I heard they're going to make this Silver Surfer female, so we'll see. I don't know, man. I think it's just die already, Marvel. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, Xbox On channel, host Sega Forever. We're out.